Broadcasting to you live from the Orion spiral arm of the Milky Way galaxy, the solar system, planet Earth, North America, the United States of America, no longer Los Angeles, California. My name is Brian Engelman. Today is Thursday, July 24th, 2025, and this here is the T-Dam Daily Show here on the new American media, because the old American media has failed you. On today's show, there is panic in D.C. as Obama, Clinton, Biden, Comey, Clapper, Brennan, and the rest are scrambling like cockroaches after Tulsi Gabbard, Director of National Intelligence, has laid out a pretty crystal clear case against the treasonous acts that they were all a part of, an ongoing RICO conspiracy to prevent Donald Trump from getting in office in 2016, and then to have President Trump impeached, removed under false pretenses. They set him up, they framed him. Then to try to pin insurrection on him, to claim you have no right to run again. You're barred by the Constitution. That wasn't what happened that day. President Trump called peacefully and patriotically. Make your voices heard. Then they tried lawfare against him to throw him in jail for life. That didn't succeed. When that didn't happen, at least 2 attempts on his life, including Butler, Pennsylvania, where he was hit in the ear. We're going to unpack the latest in this ongoing, developing American crisis. Because make no mistake about it, this is a crisis for our country. On the verge of our 250th year, we're going to unpack that. Also, South Park, fresh off of a $1.5 billion deal. Oh, they tear into President Trump too. You know how the old episodes used to have Saddam Hussein sleeping with the devil? Well, now they've replaced Saddam Hussein with President Trump. We will talk about that. Also, did you hear about The View? Did you hear about The View? Well, The View story might make us wonder, has there been some sort of a negotiated stand down with the evidence to behind the scenes reconfigure the entire deck of cards and shuffle them around? Stephen Colbert, gone. The View? I'll tell you about it. That's breaking. But also, rest in peace, brother. Hulk Hogan, gone at 71 years young. Talk about an American icon. Ozzy Osbourne was a Brit, we know that, but he was an American icon. You can be born somewhere else and be an American icon. Can't be president. We'll get to that with Barry Soetoro as well. But when you think of America, is there anything more iconic than Hulk Hogan waving this flag right here in a stage? I mean, what's more quintessential than wrestling? WWF, WWE, Hulk Hogan. Breaking right now. Everybody's sending me the messages and texts as we speak. Hello to everybody in chat. Lake Leon, what's up, brother? Okay. All right, good. And then Patriot Warrior Texas also in our X feed. It's good to follow us in. So there's 3. Deb says there was 3. It was Hulk Hogan, it was Ozzy Osbourne, and who was the third? That's how crazy the news cycle is. It just moves so fast. I'm going, who was the third? I thought Hulk was the third, right? Ozzy the second? Who was the first? I can't believe. But that's how this goes. Something is always overshadowed by something else. And that's the story of life. I mean, I was getting ready to drop the bombshell about the View when the Hulk Hogan information just dropped. So we got a lot of show to get to. Welcome everybody in the comments. Hit like, hit subscribe. And we're going to unpack all the news of the day here on the TNAM Daily Show, a division of the Agree to Disagree show here on the New American Media, because the old American media has failed you. Top off your beverage, settle in, and we're going to unpack the news together. Let's go.
Your guide to the truth, thenewamericanmedia.com.
Thank you, Deb. Malcolm Jamal Warner, clearly the less popular of the three, but a cool, iconic dude in his own right, for sure. Whew. Hulk Hogan. I feel like that's all I want to talk about is Hulk Hogan. But I have stories queued up here. All right, here's a good question of the day. When you hear the name Hulk Hogan, what do you think of? When we're here talking about Hulk Hogan, hello, Nick. Howdy, howdy. Like, what moment do you think of? There are so many iconic moments. So whether you're watching live or you're watching this after the fact, type in, when you hear the name Hulk Hogan, what is it that you think of? What story, what moment, what athletic achievement? Now, I'll say this. At least recently, the thing that I think of is Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 2024. At the Republican convention, just days after President Trump was shot in Butler, Pennsylvania, just days after. We were at the perimeter of the convention center, and we walked into an Italian joint right there, right across from like the main hotel area where we got some interviews, and place was packed, jam-packed, jam-packed. And I remember being in the room. I was with Blake Wally. Several other people were in town, and we were kind of touch and go. But watching Hulk Hogan deliver his speech at the Republican convention, and he said roughly like, I got involved when I watched my president get shot, brother. I mean, you're not used to seeing wrestlers come out and become very political, per se. Okay, the Iron Sheik. All right, the Iron Sheik was pretty political. He was a perfect heel. They call him a heel, I believe. A perfect bad guy. The Iron Sheik. Yeah, I remember being in that room at that bar. I remember I was spun sideways because it was up on the big screen. And then shortly after, Hulk Hogan spoke, and I think Kid Rock did a song, and I forget the exact order, but I definitely remember watching the Trump speech, and it was like silent, and there were teary eyes in the room, and people were just a lot of energy. I mean, they tried to off President Trump, and that got a lot of people to stand up and say things that maybe they weren't going to normally say. I think Joe Rogan famously said that he decided he was going to book him on the show. He never wanted to. He wasn't going to. After watching the assassination attempt, you're like, I'm not going to sit this one out. I'm jumping in on this. Hello, Jim on Facebook. Thank you, everybody who's watching. Hit like, hit subscribe. And so Hulk Hogan, gone at the age of 71. Let's, I was going to discuss what was in my Instagram feed, but I'm going to do this backward now because we all want to kind of see what's going on with Hulk Hogan, right? Let's get as much info as we can. By the way, pinned at the top of my page here is our Patreon account and our interview with John B. Wells from Caravan to Midnight. So you can watch the interview and sign up to become a Patreon subscriber. To anyone who has, thank you so much. It means the world. As this show grows, these funding mechanisms will continue to keep the lights on. You are so appreciated. Thank you. And to anyone who has not yet, please consider doing so. It's a great way to keep the community going. All right, so there's our live feed from today. Hope you're watching us on X at American_media_. Panic in DC. Obama, Clinton, Clapper, Comey, Biden, and Brennan. Scramble as Gabbard exposes treason is the title of the show. Okay. Colin Rugg reporting. I wonder how much of this we can play. Hulk Hogan has passed away at the age of 71 due to cardiac arrest, according to TMZ. 71 years old. Hogan was wheeled out of his house on a stretcher, according to the outlet. We're told a slew of police cars and EMTs were parked outside Hogan's home, and the icon was carried on a stretcher and into an ambulance, TMZ reported. What's this clip?
But if you looked in their eyes, man, have you seen the fear in all those little Hulksters?
Do you see the fear in the eyes of all those little Hulksters? I get the sense I'm not going to be able to play you too much of this.
They realize that when I get Andre the Giant...
Andre the Giant, yeah. I don't think I can play you too much. But is there anyone more iconic as an American figure than Hollywood Hulk Hogan? He went heel. He joined the NWO. What's the NWO mean? New World Order. Hollywood Hogan went bad guy. He went to the dark side, wearing the black. Hollywood Hogan, goatee, glasses, all black. 1953 to 2025, gone at the age of 71. This is a report here. Hustle Bitch saying, according to this man, Hollywood Hogan went in for surgery and came out brain dead. Now, just days later, TMZ confirms Hollywood Hogan is gone at 71. What really happened in that hospital? So what is this?
Hogan.
Who is this guy? My Barn, My Rules behind him. It says TikTok wrestling with the devil. All right, I'm not familiar with this, but let's hear what the claim was.
Hogan, 72 years old. He went in for an operation. He had issues with the operation. He had to go back and get another operation. And during that second operation, something happened with the heart of the brain. It sounds like to me he quite possibly could have lost carbon dioxide to the brain, and he might be a vegetable.
That was the report. And now he is gone. Hollywood Hogan. Gone. So as you have stories that you might want to talk about, if you have any Hogan stuff, share it on X at American_media_. Tag us and share it. And then it'll come up in our notifications. Nick, did you say you were going to send me a direct message? I changed my settings for you, but I didn't see a message from you. Deb, I did see your message about that other show. I was indisposed yesterday, but I hope it was a great show last evening. Lake Leon says, grew up watching Von Erichs, Wahoo McDaniel, Dusty Rhodes. Oh, I mean, good Lord. I mean, Deb saying lots of stress on the body and hearts. I mean, come on. The physical specimens. You can call wrestling fake all you want. I mean, they're athletic entertainment. That shit is real. There's a lot of choreography. There's a lot of real heavy, hard, powerful hitting. And there's also getting jacked on steroids. So, all of these things put pressure on the heart. Of course. Nick saying he remembers how him and Macho Man. I'm not feeling my voices right now, but the Macho Man, Randy Savage. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, they were amazing. And I also liked when in Ultimate Warrior jumped into the scene. Undertaker. I mean, it was just iconic Americana. Good guy, bad guy, scripted, Hollywood, choreographed. You see those pictures at the inauguration of President Trump laughing next to Obama, and Obama's cracking up. And I saw one of my buddies shared something. All right, and now I'm going to say I'm coming after you for treason. How much of our political system is choreographed? All of it, some of it, a lot of it, at least. We're all trying to make sense of it. Lake Leon says, Joyless said something like the last show was coming up. Oh, yeah, I'm going to play that. That's queued up for you right here. But you know what? Let me shift gears to, and seriously, if you happen to have a moment or two or something you wanted to share about Hollywood Hogan or any other issue in the day, share it and tag at American_media_. By the way, if any of you could share the show, copy the link however you're watching it and text it to a couple friends, or put it out on a Facebook post, or share it how you share information. Tag us on X. Invite your cool friends into the show so that we can all comment on things together. It's greatly appreciated. So, The View. Choreographed violence. Well, some people say a lot of the modern military is choreographed violence. Yeah, there is definite, legitimate, real human suffering, but then there's also performative. We're going to launch these missiles in retaliation, and we need to make it look like we gave a stern response. But you have the military officials saying, all right, clear out that building. Everybody out. We're bombing it in 8 hours. You've been warned. We don't want any loss of life. Get everyone and everything out of there, because we're going to. And there's a lot of back channels that go on during wars to make it seem like things are happening, so you can get the money flowing and the arms shipments, and just it's really about playing the shell game globally. Now, I don't mean Shell, the automobile gasoline company. I just mean moving money around, moving assets around. If everything's stagnant and there's no war, I mean, you're sitting on inventory. You got to blow some of that stuff up, right? Sadly, there is a lot of choreography there, but, look at Gaza. There's plenty of human suffering. Same in Ukraine, Russia, of course. All right, let's go to this here. Sonny Hostin. The talking heads of The View work very hard to defend Obama, claiming President Trump is jealous.
First of all,
we're going to get to the other clip as well, but is this really your interpretation of what's going on in the world?
First of all, who tried to overthrow the government on January 6th?
Wait, let me think. Who?
President Trump was the president on January 6th. And the people who were at the Capitol said, there's enough evidence that these 7 swing state fraud states, Arizona, Michigan, Wisconsin, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Georgia. Am I missing one? None of the courts were taking it up, and it looked like they were going to hurry up and rubber stamp it through, it was what appeared to be a coup by many people. Many observers claim that it was a coup. It wasn't about overthrowing the government. It was about keeping the government from being overthrown. And it always was that way. From the beginning, that's exactly what the story was about. Peacefully and patriotically, go make your voices heard. President didn't say they've stolen our country. Let's go get it back by any means necessary. Forward charge. I'm still your commander in chief. We're going to take our country back. You know what would have happened had that happened, Joy? That's not what happened. President Trump was calling on the people to go there, march peacefully and patriotically, and protest and let people hear from them to say, guys, you can't rubber stamp this. This was an abomination. Nobody in their right mind can believe Joe Biden is our most popular president of all time, the child sniffer in chief. It was literally unbelievable to many people. By the way, for countervailing views on health and elections, go to cdc.gov, who.int, and cisa.gov/rumor control. I say this to you under duress. As you can see from my tiny little picture there, I'm under duress telling you to go to cisa.gov/rumor control because they will tell you that this was the only free and fair election in the history of elections. So no, Joy, it wasn't about overthrowing the government. It was about trying to keep the government from being overthrown in what we now know, obviously, was a 9-year coup of treason from Obama, Biden, Comey, Clapper, Brennan, Clinton. They tried to keep him out. They tried to get him thrown out. Then they tried to bar him from coming back. Then they tried to throw him in jail for life. Then they tried to end his life. And they lost every step of the way. That's what's been happening for 9 years, was a 9-year overthrow of the government because Obama and Clinton felt bulletproof. They felt invincible. They felt emboldened to do whatever the hell they wanted with the support of the traitors at the alphabet agencies that no longer cared about defending America. They cared about pushing their radical ideology. People be damned. Americans be damned. Well, that's the story of January 6th. But here, let's listen to The View and how they share you the information.
First of all, who tried to overthrow the government on January 6th?
Wait, let me think. Who
was that again? That was not Obama. Okay, remember that. You know, the thing about him is that he's so jealous of Obama because Obama is everything that he is not.
Yeah.
Trim.
Yeah. Yeah.
Smart. Handsome.
Happily
married, and
Wow, there's so much to unpack in that statement.
sing Al Green's song, Let's Stay Together, better than Al Green.
Yeah.
And Trump cannot stand it. It's driving him crazy. Jealousy is not green is not a good color.
I
Is that really her hot take there? I mean, the more we know about Obama, I mean, well, they'll figure it out.
agree with you on
Except
that.
on you, Alyssa.
I agree. It's like Obama still lives rent-free in his head. I think Michelle.
This is the exact opposite. Trump lives rent-free in Clinton's head and in Obama's head. They had it all planned out to hand this over to Hillary and just continue destroying this country. And it was stopped by the people. President Trump, an imperfect man. Who knows? President Trump might have been involved in some things that we can't stomach and we're going to have to deal with. I don't know. Or is The View going away? And is all of this latest back and forth kabuki theater, is it all kind of kayfabe? Kayfabe is the name for kind of, I believe that's for kind of like the fake stuff in wrestling. Hang on, let me get the right definition for kayfabe. It's like pretending things are happening, but they're really not. But you're unwritten rule in professional wrestling where performers stay in character and treat scripted events as real, both in and out of the ring to maintain the illusion for the audience. There you go. Kayfabe. So like, oh no, Trump's totally guilty. You know, right? You saw Elon said he's on the list. Oh, you know, like they're not releasing the files. Yeah, Bongino and Patel, they turned around. They're okay. Colbert's gone. All these lawsuits are being settled. Mega lawsuits from some of the biggest media companies that have been spewing propaganda in conjunction with the deep state. There is a huge shuffling of the deck of cards right now. Is it possible? Is it possible that when things appear maybe the worst for President Trump that he's ever been in, perhaps, maybe we're on the verge of something here. Maybe we're on the precipice of a big change. not going to hold my breath, but let's finish this thought and I'll tell you more about The View because we got a bombshell coming out of The View.
Obama still lives rent-free in his head. I think.
No, Trump lives rent-free in their head, and they broke the law. They committed treason. They committed several coups. It's been an ongoing 9-year RICO conspiracy, and it's not debatable. The only debate is what comes next.
The fact that Malia graduated from Harvard still lives rent-free.
Huh? What? Harvard is a disgraced institution, and who's talking about, who in the world cares a rip about Malia? Is she saying that Trump's fixated on Malia? I've never seen that. I don't recall seeing that.
In his head. And it's just the very swag.
And by the way, I think his son Barron seems to comport himself quite well, by the way. I don't think President Trump looks at the Obama family and their dead waiter, their dead chef. I don't think he looks at that situation as with any envy, with zero envy. I don't think so. I think he's quite proud of the kids that he cranked out. Don Jr., Eric, the other one. What's that girl's name? There's another one. There's another Trump. Tiffany Trump, maybe? And Ivana and Barron. No, I think he's doing fine. I don't think he looks at the Obama family. By the way, there's a lot of rumors out there about that Obama family. Are both of those Obamas the real parents? Oh, there's a lot of questions on that. Yeah, thank you, Deb. It's more like Trump's living rent-free in Obama's head. Their script writers should be fired. But you know what? It's so on brand for the Democrats. They always accuse the other side of what it is that they are doing. Without fail. They will always three-pointing back. They point one finger out, and there's three pointing right back at them. I'm so glad these hags are not even on my radar, but at least others won't be exposed to them anymore. And we're going to find out in a day or two. I'm going to get to that clip in a second here. We will find out. Yeah, and Trump won another media lawsuit for $36 million. I mean, it's a landslide of good news, except for the Epstein story. That Epstein story is lingering. What is going on with it? And how interconnected is it with all the other stuff? Could this many people have been in on we caught them all, and oh no, we're all these sealed indictments? Maybe. I don't know.
That Obama has that he will never have. In fact, there is a viral clip going on right now. Check this out.
Check this out. What am I supposed to be watching here? He has swag because he's walking? Huh? Can't have the music for Hot Stepper. Oh, look at her. She's dancing. Why is she dancing? What kind of goofy crap is this? Why is she dancing? How lame is this? The lamest.
Yes, you see?
Yeah, do you see? Do I see what? It's your shindy in your shoulders because a guy is walking. You really got us there. Good job. He will never be able to walk down a hall?
Have swag. He will
never have swag.
Will never be cool.
Never.
And
never be cool.
And that's just what this is about. It's very high school.
Yeah. Treason is about high school, according to that nitwit. All right. This is the main reason why we talked about it today, but there's a good little reminder of who these cackling hens are. Take a listen to this. Did they let some information slip? Oh, yeah. Remember, this is ABC. Hearing that Kimmel's going to be next. I mean, I don't know what to make of the Epstein story. Would I have a hope Oh, I mean, some of the theories. I mean, wouldn't it be great if all of this information is caught and all these bad people are removed? And if all you got on Trump is some pictures with him at some events, if there were more than that, wouldn't they, who wanted him out by any cost, by any means necessary, have already deployed this? Why? No, I'm going to hold on to that. I'm just in case. Yeah, we'll just let Hillary go through her term, and then I don't know. Biden. All right, Biden took it. All right, now Trump's done. Wait, he might come back. We should probably release the Epstein. No, let's just hold it. Oh shit, he won. Okay. Well, I don't know. Maybe we could release it now. I don't know. It just doesn't make sense. But what if they've got them all by the short ones? What if ABC is changing their lineup just like CBS, just like it seems like a whole lot of people are right now? The View, in their own words.
And before we go on hiatus, we only have one more show after this. I'm allowed to say that, right?
Too late now.
So it doesn't really matter. Yeah.
Before we go, I wanted to tell.
We're on hiatus. Is that like a summer recess, or is that done?
On hiatus, we only have one more show after this.
We only have one more show after this. Before hiatus, and then you come back like a summer break, or you're done.
I'm allowed to say that, right?
Too late now.
So it doesn't really matter. Yeah.
Before we go, I wanted to tell people that the tide is turning. The tide is turning, and things are changing. I mean,
Bland colloquialisms. The tide is turning. Things are changing. Okay, you're not telling us anything.
and things are changing. I mean, the ultimate irony would be that Rupert Murdoch will take him down.
Yeah.
Fox News, who created the monster, will take him down.
Going on hiatus now. So we'll find out what that means. All right, here's a clip as we're digging into Hulk Hogan. Here's Jesse Ventura.
None. I've never spoken to him since and don't.
And this is about unionizing the WWE. Hulk Hogan told Vince McMahon and got it shut down.
None. I've never spoken to him since and don't intend to.
Did he ever try and
Why would he
reach out
bother?
and
Why would he bother with me? He's dealing with Hulkamania. The only time he made contact, he wrote a book when I was governor, and he was coming here once to do a book signing, and he wanted to make sure I wouldn't get him arrested. So he actually had Vince McMahon contact me as governor. And you know what I told Vince? I said, you tell Hulk, believe it or not, I have more important things on my mind than him. I said, I know it'll destroy his ego to hear that, but I don't think of him on a daily basis. None. I've never.
So yeah, I think it's always interesting when someone passes. You go back through their catalog and you start relearning some of the stories that you might have forgot, you might have missed, interview clips you weren't aware of. Legacy is an interesting thing. It's hard to have a legacy when you're in it. It's hard to understand legacy when you're a part of it. I think only time can do that. Hulk Hogan with Vince McMahon. I think Vince McMahon says it best here, says Gary.
I'd like to say that on behalf of all of us, your Hulkamaniacs, thank you for the memories, thank you for the inspiration, and thank you for Hulkamania.
Thank you.
Okay, there's a fitting send-off.
behalf
That's a fitting send-off there. All right. Let's keep scrolling through the stories. All right. Well, MJ Truth Ultra says it just got 20 times worse for Obama. 20 plus CIA and FBI officials have now come forward and confirmed that Barack Obama doctored intelligence to frame Trump. He framed the president of the United States and has been actively working to stage coups, multiple coup attempts over 9 years. You don't just get to walk away from that.
A bombshell report today that shows a conspiracy by a sitting president, Barack Obama, and his intel agencies to sabotage the president-elect, Donald Trump, brainwash the electorate, and undermine the legitimacy of an election.
Good point there, Nick, saying Jesse Ventura supported Kamala. Yeah, Jesse marches to the beat of his own drummer. I loved his book. Ain't Got Time to Bleed. I loved that he was an outsider and got elected to be governor of Minnesota. It's pretty great. He's a kooky character, though. I would actually love to interview Jesse Ventura. Love to pick his brain. He's a interesting feller. I need to reach out. I don't think he's on X, though. I don't even know how you find him. He's like in the Baja Peninsula.
There is irrefutable evidence that detail how President Obama and his national security team directed the creation of an intelligence community assessment that they knew was false. They knew it would promote this contrived narrative that Russia interfered in the 2016 election to help President Trump win, selling it to the American people as though it were true. It wasn't.
Gabbard got her hands on a House intel report that's been locked away in a CIA vault for almost a decade. Investigators spent over 2,000 hours looking into how the Russia hoax was born, interviewing 20 CIA and FBI officials. And it turns out that the Obama administration doctored the intelligence to make it look like Putin and Trump stole the election. A month after Trump beat Hillary, Barack Obama wasn't satisfied with his intelligence reporting and ordered his CIA director to create a new assessment of how Russia interfered with the election. This was a highly unusual move.
Yeah, because he's committing treason, active treason, obvious treason.
John Brennan handpicked 5 CIA analysts to write the assessment, and they were siloed. None of them knew what the other was doing. And only one analyst was in charge of drafting this report. There was nothing routine about this, and it was a rush job to publish before Trump was sworn in. Nothing was coordinated with the other intelligence agencies either. Basically, this was home cooking for Barack Obama. There were 4 key elements from the assessment that were repeated over and over again and formed the basis of the Russia hoax and the Robert Mueller witch hunt. 1, that Vladimir Putin wanted Donald Trump to win.
Yeah, that wasn't true either. And this took us so far off of our priorities forever. It caused brain damage to, some say, half our country who were consuming these lies thinking it was true, fearing, oh, Orange Man's so bad, Orange Man bad. These were Obama lies. He caused brain damage to half the country, and he forced us to take our eye off the ball on all of the important issues we needed to be devoting our time to. Securing the border and getting the economy on track and working to increase personal freedoms and liberties in this country. All the things we were supposed to be doing were all derailed for this kayfabe, this act, this wrestling stunt, this scheme, this fake scenario. This was all Obama, and they were all in on it. He thought he could get away with everything. So now history has to determine, will that be accurate, or is he going to have to pay for his crimes? These aren't just, taking a stick of gum for a packet of M&Ms or something from the convenience store. This is treason that carries the penalty of an execution if you're found guilty. I don't know what is that, military tribunal? Like, I don't even know who, is it Department of Justice, or like, where does a treason charge? What does it look like? Is it a military? I have questions, but it continues. Jesse's laying out the various lies put out by the Obama team.
2, Putin took action to help Trump win. 3, the Russians had blackmail on Trump. That was the Steele dossier. And
Steele dossier paid for by Clinton and the DNC to frame Trump. Obama has got to answer for this. He deserves to spend the rest of his life in jail if he doesn't face corporal punishment for committing the treason that he did. This was to remove the sitting president of the United States, not just politically. I'm going to have a better idea than him. I'm going to sell better merchandise. I'm going to go on more talk shows. I'm going to get more support. This was framing a person to destroy that person for political gain. By the way, that person was the president of the United States. It started before he became president to try to keep him from getting there. And then it continued while he was there. Continued when Biden was the puppet for Obama and his team. And it's continued to this day. Now it's all finally being exposed. All of the lies.
That the Russians tried colluding with the Trump campaign. None of any of this was ever true. There was no reliable intelligence to support any of these allegations. Senior CIA officials repeatedly refused to traffic in these allegations, but they were repeatedly overruled by CIA Director Brennan and FBI Director Comey, who insisted that they be pushed, even without verifiable evidence. The Obama administration cherry-picked the intelligence, lied about their sources, misquoted sources, didn't corroborate their claims, suppressed intelligence that ran counter to their narratives, and even used anonymous internet postings.
This wasn't accidental. This wasn't sloppy. This was knowing and intentional, knowingly and intentionally. There's really no way to talk yourself out of this one.
Rank and file CIA admitted what they were doing violated their own tradecraft standards. There was a massive pressure campaign that came right from the top. CIA analysts say they received unusual directives from political appointees, the CIA director, and Obama himself. This is how the Russia hoax was born.
Donald Trump knows that the Russians helped him win in 2016.
Putin hated Secretary Clinton so much that the flip side of that coin was he had a clear preference for the person running against the person he hated so much.
It was none of this is true. All these officials who think they're better than you, they know more than you, they're more intelligent than you, that doesn't matter what the people vote for, they're going to run this country whether you like it or not. These people committed treason, thinking they could get away with it, hoping they would get away with it.
Russia, in a very systematic way, tried to interfere in the election and to try to advance the prospects of Donald Trump being elected.
This was such a malicious disinformation campaign perpetrated on the American people that at one point, 60% of Democrats believed the Russians hacked our voting machines to help Trump win the White House. What this report actually shows is that the Russians just wanted to create chaos and undermine Americans' faith in democracy. Solid intelligence suggested that Vladimir Putin didn't care who won. He had no preference.
But he actually had dirt on Hillary, according to some of this.
But like most people, expected Hillary to win and had a little docket of compromising dirt on her. Dirt that he
kind of preferred Hillary winning, actually. Go figure.
Never released. Now, if Putin wanted Trump to win, why didn't Putin drop the dirt?
There were high-level DNC emails that detailed evidence of Hillary's, quote, psycho-emotional problems, uncontrolled fits of anger, aggression, and cheerfulness, and that then Secretary Clinton was allegedly on a daily regimen of heavy tranquilizers. Then CIA Director Brennan.
Hillary was absolutely out of control. We saw her falling down, flipping out, wigging out, acting really weird. A lot.
And the intelligence community mischaracterized intelligence and relied on dubious substandard sources to create a contrived false narrative that Putin developed a quote-unquote clear preference for Trump.
Now, if Clinton was on tranquilizers like the Russians believed, why didn't they leak it to help Trump win?
How credible was the information about Hillary Clinton's health?
All I have seen is what the Intelligence Committee have reported through their investigation. I think the underlying point there is that we understand from intelligence what Russia said that they had. And the important point here is that if they were trying to influence the election, as President Obama and James Clapper and John Brennan, everybody said they were doing in order to support Donald Trump's election, they would have released the most damning of that information.
Obama and his spy chiefs knew that Putin didn't prefer Trump over Hillary, but they
had what they had, and they kept selling lie after lie.
cooked the intelligence to make it look like he did. Obama and his intel spies knew that Putin didn't collude with Trump and that he didn't even direct his people to help Trump win. But they put it out there anyway. In a sense, Barack Obama did exactly what Putin wanted, undermined Americans' faith in free and fair elections and caused chaos in our country.
Yeah, Obama did that on his own.
Barack Obama, the CIA, and the FBI were the ones doing what our enemy wanted.
Do you believe that any of this new information implicates former President Obama in criminal behavior?
We have referred and will continue to refer all of these documents to the Department of Justice and the FBI to investigate the criminal implications of this.
For even former
The
President
evidence,
Obama?
correct. The evidence that we have found and that we have released directly point to President Obama leading the manufacturing of this intelligence assessment.
All right, so TikTok, what's up? What comes next? We all know. We've known this for about 10 years. All right? We've all known.
Multiple pieces of evidence and intelligence that confirm that fact.
Even 2 years later, after the election, Barack Obama was still pushing a hoax he knew wasn't true. And he knew it wasn't true because he helped manufacture it.
They're undermining our alliances, cozying up to Russia. What happened to the Republican Party? They're cozying up to the former head of the KGB.
What an asshole. Framing Trump. Overselling, overacting.
They're undermining our alliances, cozying up to Russia. What happened to the Republican Party? They're cozying up to the former head of the KGB.
Since when does Obama... Remember when Mitt Romney said about our greatest threat? He goes, the 1980s called, and they want their foreign policy back. Or something like that.
Actively blocking legislation that would defend our elections from Russian attack. What happened?
Now, I don't know if it's possible to
Unreal.
indict a former president for actions he took while in office.
Treason. And he worked with the deep state who was embedded within the intelligence agencies during Trump's term. Yes, you can absolutely charge him.
I'm not a lawyer, proudly. But Brennan, Comey, and others may have severe liability. Trey Gowdy says we know for a fact that Brennan committed perjury when he lied to Congress.
Director Brennan, do you know who commissioned the Steele dossier?
I don't.
Do you know if the Bureau ever relied on the Steele dossier as part of any court filings, applications?
I have no awareness.
I just like that as a standalone quote right there. We should save this. Brennan.
Do you know if the Bureau ever relied on the...
Are you a wise person? Do you generally consider yourself to be aware about general things?
Steele dossier as part of any court filings, applications?
I have no awareness.
I have no awareness. There's Cash Patel lurking in the background.
Did the CIA rely on it?
No.
Why not?
Because we didn't. It wasn't part of the corpus of intelligence information that we had. It was not in any way used as a basis for the intelligence community assessment that was done. It was not.
No, that's a lie. Whatever happens to these guys is not revenge. It's accountability.
It's justice.
And it's time for people to pay the price.
Yeah, it's very overdue. This was Trump's words about the situation.
The witch hunt that you should be talking about is they caught President Obama absolutely cold. Tulsi Gabbard.
By the way, Lake Leon, I can't stand Obama's voice either. If a lot of it feels manufactured, a little over the top. I'm not a fan either. Nope, not a fan. Deb mentioning that people back then were saying Hillary was using doubles or even clones of herself. Yeah, they said the exact same thing too about Biden. I mean, you look at that picture of Biden, you look at the whatever we had for 4 years, it's like, you're telling me that's the same person. They look like an animatronic character now. You're telling me that's Joe Biden? Just the facial, like, they don't really look the same. I've seen versions of Trump that don't really look like. Who knows? Who knows what they're doing? I don't know everything that they're doing. Yeah, that's an interesting point. Let's see here. You like Trey Gowdy? Yeah, I mean, Trey left and he went to private sector, right? He's hanging out in Fox now. There were rumors of Trey, because Trey was a superstar, but then he left kind of Matt Gaetz style. Like, did he compromise himself? Was he caught in the spider web and he exit stage left? Like, why did Trey Gowdy sort of disappear? That was a weird part of the story, I think. But yeah, Trey does a lot of good work, or he did at least.
What they did to this country in 2016, starting in 2016, but going up to 2020 in the election, they tried to rig the election, and they got caught. And there should be very severe consequences for that. You know, when we caught Hillary Clinton, I said, you know what? Let's not go too far here. It's the ex-wife of a president, and I thought it was sort of terrible. And I let her off the hook, and I'm very happy I did. But it's time to start, after what they did to me, and whether it's right or wrong, it's time to go after people. Obama's been caught directly. So people say, oh, you know, a group. It's not a group. It's Obama. His orders are on the paper. The papers are signed. The papers came right out of their office. They sent everything to be highly classified. Well, the highly classified's been released. And what they did in 2016 and in 2020 is very criminal. It's criminal at the highest level. So that's really the things you should be talking.
So clandestine says it's happening. Trump isn't joking. He's going full scorched earth on Barry and the cabal. Jim Hansen on CNN talking about Tulsi Gabbard. You know, let's get CNN's take about what's going on, because they did cut her off also at a particular moment. They didn't want that.
We have no idea. I mean, this is hardly information that we should even be repeating. Never mind that it's some years after the fact, 8 years more than that after the fact, but also just to look at the source. But look, this is the what this White House wants to talk about, and I'm not sure that we should spend that much more time on it, frankly. Yeah.
I mean, listen, that
I'm so surprised they don't want to spend more time talking about it.
We have no idea.
Because they're complicit in it. They were their mouthpiece. CNN, MSNBC, two of the worst. Dom Luker, breaker of narratives, putting this out, says on July 6, 2007, a 23-page letter from Jeffrey Epstein's lawyers, Alan Dershowitz and Gerald Lefcourt, stated that Epstein was the co-founder of the Clinton Global Initiative, which became the Clinton Foundation. Are you aware of that one? I don't know that I've heard that one before. The letter was tied to a successful plea deal before Epstein was charged, and this directly ties Hillary and Bill Clinton to Jeffrey Epstein's network. Huh. This back to 2007. 23-page letter from Epstein's lawyers and Dershowitz, Gerald Lefcourt. Epstein was a co-founder of the Clinton Global Initiative, which became the Clinton Foundation. Andy No telling us about Democrats in this Kansas City store funneled tens of millions of taxpayer funds to support this grocery store in a high-crime area of the city. Now its shelves are empty, and shoppers, most of whom use food benefits, are greeted by a rotting smell. The store is a target of theft and criminal activity, and prostitutes use the parking lot to solicit sex work. I mean,
Shoppers come to check off their
What's
list
wrong
and
with
buy
socialism
groceries
or
for the
communism,
week.
guys?
Protein, vitamins, fresh fruits and vegetables.
Now they have nothing. There is nothing. I walked in and I'm like, okay, where's all the food?
Michelle Randolph has been shopping here for years.
The milk?
What are you wearing a mask for?
I'm scared to buy some. Even the dates that may have a few days over. I don't want to buy that.
Every aisle is like a ghost town. The chips are gone, the meat is gone, the cheese and yogurt are gone. Even the frozen section has more frost than food.
It used to be packed when it first opened back in a couple years back.
For months, food has been purchased and not replaced by the store.
2 or 3 months ago. Yeah, it's just too much for me, if you ask me.
A smell greets customers at the entrance.
It's a rancid odor or something. I think something dead or something that's went bad.
In 7 years, the store has had 2 operators, for-profit and now non-profit.
And by the way, Mom Dami's trying to do this in New York. He wants government grocery stores. Like, I think we learned our lessons about communism, socialism, didn't we?
Nothing on the shelves.
After bonds, building loans, ordinances, and shortfall transfers, taxpayers have invested nearly $29 million in the store.
All that money is just going to waste.
Kansas City police and private security are on site to keep the area safe.
All the other 2 Sun Freshes had food. Why does this one not?
Right now, people wish they could pay the prices and take home some food.
It just needs to get better.
In Kansas City, Brian Johnson, KMBC 9.
Andy No is a good follow on X if you're not following him. Mr. Andy No, NGO. Lionel reminding us, hey, remember Andrew Breitbart? We haven't talked about Breitbart in a while, have we? Andrew Breitbart, because look, a lot of the story that we're covering, it's an ongoing unraveling of a continuous RICO conspiracy of treason. But in order to understand it, some of this is working our way backward and remembering stuff like Andrew Breitbart, the fiery conservative media figure and founder of Breitbart News, collapsed and died suddenly on March 1st, 2012. Just prior to his death, he teased the release of explosive videos allegedly implicating Barack Obama, claiming they would upend the 2012 election and expose Obama's unvetted past. Suspicion intensified when the coroner assigned to his autopsy, Michael Cormier, mysteriously died from arsenic poisoning weeks later. Many questioned whether Breitbart's death and the coroner's were truly natural or convenient silencing. The videos he promised never surfaced. To this day, the circumstances surrounding both deaths remains fertile ground for deep suspicion and speculation. I feel like I've asked Grok this question before. How did Michael Cormier die? Suspicious? Question mark. I know how the story was reported, similar to how Lionel just put it out there. Los Angeles County Coroner's Office, 61-year-old forensic technician died under suspicious circumstances. Rushed to Providence St. Joseph Medical Center in Burbank from his North Hollywood home after experiencing pain and vomiting. Initial reports suggested possible arsenic poisoning, confirmed later by the coroner's office, which found extremely high amounts of arsenic in his system. This caused his death despite a history of heart problems. The LAPD investigated, Lieutenant Alan Hamilton noting foul play was not ruled out, as hospital staff raised concerns about the circumstances. Hazardous materials teams searched Cormier's home, found no traces. Suspicious nature of his death was, you got the Obama chef, you got this, you got Joan Rivers, you got a Clinton body count. Some people tried to link the 2 deaths, speculating Cormier, who allegedly performed a private autopsy on Breitbart, was targeted for knowing something contradictory about Breitbart's death. However, Assistant Chief Coroner Ed Winter clarified that only doctors worked on Breitbart's autopsy, as foul play was not initially suspected, casting doubt on claims that Cormier was directly involved. No definitive evidence. Okay. Lack of clarity. What I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this and add it for context on the X post. Oh, shoot, it disappeared. Doggone it. I can't do it now. I needed to double share it. If I unshare it, then it disappears. Doggone it. Well, there you have it. contradictory that that guy worked on the Breitbart case. I was going to say exhumation, the autopsy. Alex Jones reporting that Kamala Harris's husband, Doug Emhoff, officially took over the Democratic Party's lawfare operations against himself and InfoWars in a desperate damage control to protect Obama. We know from their documents coordinated this terror campaign against key Trump backers, he says. Jim Ferguson reporting Microsoft gave the CCP access to U.S. military secrets. Navy whistleblower Tom Schiller just dropped a national security nuke saying Chinese engineers were granted access to classified U.S. military systems through Microsoft Azure for over a decade. Loomer and Charles confronted Bill Gates on camera, demanding answers. Microsoft didn't deny it. They just quietly changed the policy. This isn't a leak. This is treason by tech infrastructure. What it means, according to this post from Jim Ferguson, businessman and entrepreneur, Freedom Train International. He says this means the CCP had their hands in the heart of the U.S. defense systems. Gates' empire sold out American sovereignty for profit and global positioning. And the Pentagon is only now reviewing the fallout. So who approved this? Why hasn't Microsoft been raided? This is espionage and someone needs to go to jail. So, Bill Gates, is he coming down next? Is he going to be exposed and removed? We shall see. Tim Burchett reporting this. Check out Janet Roberts down at Vanderbilt. Gorgeous college.
Gosh, I think she's a representative of something. I just heard that she may run for governor, and I'm going, oh, God, I know, she's ridiculous.
Saying the governor is ridiculous.
Blackburn. Yes, I know. I heard that, and I went, it's a very weird place right now. We are heavily supported by federal funding. Facility side of it, we will, we're not advertising diversity and inclusion lectures. We used to have a whole series.
Talking about the whole series of DEI stuff, all the discrimination that is really at the core of the Obama doctrine. Division and artificially suppressing the ability for ungood people to succeed at life. Christians or men or conservatives or white people or Republicans or libertarians, basically anybody that gets in the way of their New World Order plan. They all get taken down by prioritizing everybody but those groups of people. Catholics. I mean, go down the list.
So, things like that have changed. A lot of things like that have changed. And then
they changed enough to keep getting away with doing what they're not supposed to be doing. They're just not advertising it and they're not calling it the same.
Meetings for students. And I mean, if it's student led, that's one thing, but it's not organized from the office. And that's just been over the last few months. I mean, we're flying under the radar.
Flying under the radar, she says. And so they're trying to outsource it so the students are doing some of these things. It's just like when Obama had rendition, they were outsourcing torture to Northern Africa. Oh, no, we're not doing any torture. Yeah, you're funding the groups that are committing torture. You're doing this. If you hire a hitman, you killed someone. No, I didn't do it. The hitman did it. I mean, I don't know anything about it. You don't get to play both sides of that. But they tried to because the hubris, the ego. Obama thought he was invincible and could get away with anything. Frankly, a lot of that stems from the fact that he was able to get away with so much. He got away with so much for so long, to the detriment of America. Elon here talking about how batteries are going to be a massive thing, the battery demand. I don't think many people appreciate just how gigantic the scale of battery demand is. The sustained power output from the U.S. grid is around TW terawatt? But average usage is less than half of it. If you add batteries to the mix, you can run the power plants 24/7 at full capacity, more than doubling the energy output per year of the United States just with batteries. Yeah, we need to be thinking about these things instead of running around on fake collusion charges because the deep state is lying to you to stage a coup to overthrow the duly elected President Trump. Deb believes that Breitbart was murdered. I believe that as well. Charlie Kirk says President Trump's Department of Justice moved to release valuable Epstein information, and a federal judge is blocking their pursuit of transparency. Are you paying attention yet? The judge is a 2014 Obama appointee named Robin Rosenberg. Sal Rosenberg. Yeah, Wayne Dunlap. So we arrested the guy who owned the sex island, and we arrested the woman who brought the children to the sex island. But we haven't arrested the clients who paid to rape the children on the sex island. Like, what? What? But now some of the revisionist history is that none of that was happening on the island. It was just a meet and greet place. And there are no tapes. They just had the rooms weren't wired. They weren't filmed. They don't have blackmail. Not sure where that came from. And it's like we're having to go back and go, well, what do we actually know? What is, Deb, you were saying you're evidence-based. Yeah, what are the facts? What do we know and what do we think we know? Sometimes those can be very different questions. Donald Trump Jr. says, I wonder why an Obama-appointed judge would do such things, such as block the pursuit of transparency in releasing Epstein info. Representative Anna Paulina Luna says Obama-appointed Judge Robin Rosenberg blocked the unsealing of grand jury testimony in the Epstein case. In 23, when Marsha Blackburn tried to subpoena the Epstein flight logs, Democrat Dick Durbin blocked it. For 4 years under Biden, Democrats said and did nothing. Now they want to accuse Trump of a cover-up, but the Trump admin and the GOP were the only ones taking action. Democrats have been blocking the truth for years. Dave Smith looks at this. He says, so Speaker Johnson killed a vote on releasing Epstein files, and a judge just blocked the release of grand jury Epstein testimony. Man, for something that wasn't at all a conspiracy, there sure are a lot of powerful people hell-bent on us never seeing the proof. Julian's Rum says, Trump haters. They say, Trump is on the Epstein list. Trump supporters. Okay, release it. Obama judge. No. So are we? Nick thinks the new island is in the Azores for reasons. Nick has reasons. Yeah, that's the other part of this. There's not just one spot. Epstein had New York. He had New Mexico. For reasons. Wait, where are you saying that it's at? Nick, tell us where you're saying that's at. I'm looking it up. I can't seem to find where you're referencing. All right, check this one out. MJ Truth Ultra put this out. Do you remember what Patrick Byrne said about Hillary Clinton?
President for 8 years. And
this is, how many people know about this?
Position, and thus when the cop shows up and tried to sell the cocaine, it's not entrapment, but it's a good sting. And they explained all that to me, and they said, you're going to work for us setting up Hillary Clinton. And there are, I'm not going to go into the details, there was an $18 million bribe that I was to arrange, and I arranged it, and I was to get the person paying that, I was to get the bag man into a room with her 7 weeks later on January 14th, 2016, Hillary Clinton in a hotel room, met with the bag man. I can even go into how it was done, but it won't go into the, it's not in her schedule. I do not know, I was not there, didn't know if she took the bribe or not. 3 days later, I met with the agents. They told me, they told me, you need to forget this whole thing ever happened. You forget every moment this ever happened, and we mean it, Patrick. It's like serious stuff. And I said, what's going on? There was actually 4 federal people of 3 different flavors in this. And I'm going to give you the words of one of them, but the gestalt of this was confirmed by the other 3. And what was eventually explained to me was this. Patrick, you need to understand that at this point, President Obama has his people across the federal bureaucracy, but especially the Department of Justice, Hillary Clinton is going to be president for 8 years, and nothing's going to change that. But while she's president, think of there as being a Bunsen burner in the DOJ, and the information about the bribes, and there's actually two, that you know about are going to be sitting on that Bunsen burner.
And now DNI Gabbard might have this.
The hand on the Bunsen burner is going to be one of President Obama's people. If Hillary's a good girl and she defends Obamacare, that flame stays low. If she's a bad girl and thinks for itself, it gets turned up. And that way, President Obama is going to manage Hillary Clinton for the 8 years she's president.
Make sure you catch this. If she's a good girl, she gets to stay. But if she starts rocking the boat while Obama's running her term from the shadows, he always intended to run the term from the shadows. He told us about governing from the basement. He never intended to leave. He's exactly what the Democrats were. Oh, he's an autocrat. Oh, he's proletariat. What do they call him? He's an oligarch. He's a king. No kings. Obama was trying to appoint himself king of America.
And she defends Obamacare, that flame stays low. If she's a bad girl and thinks for itself, it gets turned up. And that way, President Obama is going to manage Hillary Clinton for the 8 years she's president.
To manage her for the 8 years that Hillary's president. Okay, the Azores. I was spelling it wrong. Azores. The Azores Islands. Portuguese archipelago in the North Atlantic Ocean. There you go. Azores.
Then she's going to step down and Michelle's going to run. And
then she's going to step down and Michelle's going to take over after 8 years. Good grief.
Patrick, that's the plan. This plan, I later was told, was called Operation Snow Globe. But instead of a penguin, it's Hillary Clinton. And Brennan, and by the way, even though I just mentioned Obama, I have some good reason to believe he's not himself. I think John Brennan's behind all of this, frankly. And I think
Brennan's behind it.
I think that Brennan,
because at the end of the day, Obama or whoever, I said something to Izzy, my buddy from Los Angeles, that seems to have stuck. He's repeated it back to me a couple of times since. And it's something my dad told me. And it's something that over time, it means different things and it makes different sense depending on what we're talking about. But I said, everybody has a boss. Oh, but not so-and-so. So they got a boss. Oh, well, okay. Well, then that person doesn't have. Oh, no, they have a boss. Okay, well, the person who's in charge of that, but they don't have it. No, everybody's got a boss. In a way, these Obama, Clinton people, they're useful idiots. They are sort of at the mercy of the deep state. You do what we say and we won't turn the heat up. But we can never let a president who can go rogue get into this position because they'll do what they want. Yeah, well, that's what it's supposed to be in this country. That's literally what it's supposed to be. So is Brennan at the top of this this chain reaction?
Blackmails Obama. I think Obama is actually Brennan's guy.
Okay, so he thinks Brennan has blackmailed Obama. Bathhouse Barry.
Brennan blackmails Obama. I think Obama is actually Brennan's guy. But anyway, I think Brennan is behind.
So that is Patrick Byrne.
Position, and thus when they.
Maybe Brennan blackmailed Obama already. All right, there you go on our Rumble feed. Checking out yesterday's show, Remembering Ozzy Osbourne, plus the treason case laid out by DNI Gabbard. CNN trying to cover up these crimes is no longer working. If you want to stay in the media business, try telling the truth for once, says General Michael Flynn. All those you protected for years are now going to feel the heat because they're the ones who created this absolute globally embarrassing mess, which is also the greatest crime in U.S. history. Here's Andrew McCabe on CNN trying to explain away the blatant treason committed by Obama and company, but it's not going to work, says Gunther Eagleman.
What you think?
Yeah, sure. Sorry about that. I thought you were going to play another piece of her comments.
So It's really, Brianna, it's really hard to try to sort through the confusion that seems to be surrounding the DNI's comments. But I will say my
Who's confused? I don't think people are confused.
opinion at this point is what the DNI has conflated are two separate conclusions about levels of about lines of investigation that were happening at the same time. So to put it simply, we were deeply concerned about what the Russians were doing to target our election in 2016. And ultimately what we concluded is they did a lot of different things. And don't take my opinion for it. The Mueller report is sitting right there on the shelf behind me. You can get your own. It's about 400 pages. It begins with the conclusion that the Russians, in a sweeping and systematic fashion, interfered with the election.
Did.
Some of the ways they did that was by sending undercovers here to the United States to travel around the country and find out what people thought. They established the Internet Research Agency to create fake accounts on social media platforms and to try to influence Americans' sentiment about the election in that way. They performed a hack and dump campaign in which they targeted political institutions with their cyber operators, and they stole information from places like the DNC. They attempted to do it in the RNC.
I mean, come on. The story about the DNC is that was Seth Rich. The data was transferred super high speeds. It couldn't have been done remotely. It had to be a direct source. Seth Rich was eliminated shortly after. These guys just keep repeating their lies, thinking you're dumb enough to not know the difference. But we know the difference now. And we should have always known the difference, and we should have never allowed them to take us this far off track on their lies.
As well. So a lot of different lines of effort. One of them was they actually targeted the state electoral infrastructure. So many states were the victims of malicious Russian cyber activity. They tried to sneak their way into these state electoral systems to understand what was going on. In a few states, they got into voter registration rolls, which was very concerning. But what they didn't get into were any of the machines that are necessary to change the results of the election.
Now, who has control of the machines that would be necessary to change the results of the election? Necessary to change the results of the election. Did he just say that?
To understand what was going on. In a few states, they got into voter registration rolls, which was very concerning. But what they didn't get into were any of the machines that are necessary to change the results of the election.
Machines that were necessary to change the results in the election. I wonder if he just said something there that he wasn't supposed to say, because that was the story that they're impeccable, they're unimpeachable, the voting systems are perfect, there's nothing wrong with those, there's no vulnerabilities there. Oh wait, there's a shit ton of potential vulnerabilities. Maybe.
And here comes the confusion. So on that line of inquiry, there was a pretty clear consensus across the intelligence community that the Russians had not succeeded in trying to change the results of the election. That did not change our conclusion that they did many other things to influence the outcome of the election. So she is trying to say that because we concluded they didn't actually have an impact on the vote tally, that is somehow contradicting our overall conclusion that they made several efforts to try to impact the election. I mean, that's as near as I can go to figure out what.
Yeah, go ahead, laugh it off, chuckle man, Andy McCabe.
She's talking about.
Andy,
yeah, they're on full damage control now, hoping to get away with it. It's the second segment.
Yeah, that's a great summary. So basically, you're talking about.
Anyway, Andy McCabe is all wrapped up in it as well. General Flynn. He's got him targeted. He's got him. They all appear to be targeted. They all appear to be identified. What comes next? How long after laying out this case do we need before we're going to see the perp walk, before we're going to see the mugshot? Would you buy an Obama mugshot? I'll bet you Trump could sell Obama mugshots on his site. There's a question of the day. Type it in the comments. Would you buy an Obama mugshot piece of merchandise? Oh, they are sweating big time. Deb, you thought that was a telling statement? Which part? The part where I was talking about necessary to change the voting systems or something else? Yeah, I know. The rules of programming. Repeat it continuously and eventually people will accept it as fact. Yeah, and also tell a lie so big. What is that phrase? I don't know. Goring or somebody said that about you have to tell a lie so big that it's... What is that about the telling a big lie? And then remember, that's what the Democrats appropriated. Hang on, I want that exact quote because I'm gonna use it. Nazi quotes about a big lie. Mein Kampf, Adolf Hitler wrote, "In the big lie, there is always a certain force of credibility, because the broad masses of a nation are always more easily corrupted in the deeper strata of their emotional nature than consciously or voluntarily. And thus, in the primitive simplicity of their minds, they more readily fall victims to the big lie than the small lie, since they themselves often tell small lies in little matters, but would be ashamed to resort to large-scale falsehoods." The concept was later used by Joseph Goebbels, okay, I did say Goebbels. I think I was trying to, at least. Nazi propaganda minister who applied it to describe a lie so colossal that people would assume it must be true because they couldn't fathom such brazen deceit. Okay. Remember, the Democrats kept saying, oh, okay, it's a good point about the machines. Yes, I think so too. The big lie. The Democrat deep state tried to add the Nazi phrase, and pin it on Trump. They were the ones doing it. Oh, yeah, Joe Biden's totally the most popular president in American history. Wink, wink. I'm going to talk about having blackmail on the people in office. The child sniffer in chief. Okay, so they said, if you don't accept that Joe Biden is the most popular person in American presidential history with 81 million totally legitimate votes, you are perpetrating and peddling and pushing a big lie. They know they were painting you as a Nancy. The big lie. Oh, you're going to believe the big lie that Joe Biden didn't win that election? What, you mean the guy who was trailing by hundreds of thousands of votes in every fraud state or swing state that magically paused their votes long enough to magically find just enough look at that. Out of all the paused ones, every one of them swung to Biden. Totally believable. Totally believable. If you don't believe that, you're believing a big lie. Wink, wink. You know what that means? And you're damn right, Lake Leon, the media needs to be held accountable. I would like to volunteer as having had this information pretty accurately described for the past 14 years. I've had a decent thumb on the pulse of what's happening. The new American media had to rise because we were tired of being lied to by the old American media. All right, here is Scott Jennings talking to a liberal reporter, Tara Palmieri show. All right.
The left has a problem with violence. It is in its heart right now.
I don't think it is only the left. I mean, you have literally seen people on both sides committing violence. I think.
Oh, you're saying there's fine people on both sides? I mean, there's not fine people on both sides? I mean, wait, what?
The problem is not the left. I think it is the extremes on both sides of the party. And that is what's happening. Like they're the loudest voices, whether the leaders want them or not. And they're the ones who tend to be the most violent. I don't think that's fair to say it's only the left. I mean,
why, but why is it happening? Why do late night comedians go on TV and encourage or coddle or give lip service to this vandalism of what went on with Tesla dealerships and so on? Why are there so many prominent people
egging it on? They are gaslighters for sure. Exactly, Deb.
People didn't get hurt.
I totally get why Luigi Mangione was murdered. Like, why? I don't.
People didn't get hurt. Oh, people weren't hurt. They were just terrorized nonstop because of the Democrat efforts with Tesla. Screw you. Oh, people died. Yeah, the one lady was shot in the head. A lady of a different race who happened to be a mother and in a military veteran. I interviewed her mother on the day after Inauguration Day in Washington, D.C. Yeah, they shot her daughter in the face. A man of a different race shot a veteran mother in the face. The only shot fired on January 6th, by the way.
I'm not for vandalism, but like
it's more than that.
Vandalism. Vandalism is like throwing an egg or toilet papering something or spray painting something. Like this was a coordinated terror attack at anybody affiliated with this president, which makes it a coup attempt. You're trying to make it so toxic that he can't do his job. You're interfering with the role of the president.
They firebomb these things. Like it's obviously
it's dangerous, but it's happening on both sides.
What person on the right is committing violence today?
Yeah, where?
Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, when you're in power, you don't tend to be the ones that are doing that. But
who is this Tara Paul Mary? She's laughable.
I think after they lost the election in 2020.
Who lost the election?
There was a mob and a person died. And it was
a mob and a person died when you shot her in the fucking face. I'm sorry, neck. It was the neck, I believe. Yeah, that's why that person died, because you shot her in the face. I keep saying face, the neck.
A riot at the Capitol. It was
the mostly peaceful protest. The one where Nancy Pelosi and Muriel Bowser, the governor of D.C., mayor, whatever it is, where they turned down tens of thousands of National Guard troops to make sure none of this happened. But you had to make sure that this happened so you could hurry up and stop discussing the fraud that happened potentially in the 2020 election and just ram through the approval, ram through the certification instead of talking about alternate electors, talking about having a revote. There should have been a revote, a one-day revote in person, driver's license only. You had to verify that you were on the voter rolls, vote in person one day in those 7 fraud states that paused counting. That's what was supposed to be debated on the floor of Congress. But instead, Pelosi got what she wanted. They got what they wanted, which was to frame Trump as an insurrectionist and make it toxic so nobody could support him anymore. And it all failed.
Crazy.
It was a terrible day, and it should not have happened.
It was a horrible day.
And it was. Let me just check my calendar, and it was 5.5 years ago.
Can we also talk about the fact that someone broke into Nancy Pelosi's house and violently beat up her husband?
You're saying that homeless drug addict is a conservative?
Well, I mean.
Well, I mean, I don't know this Tara Paul Mary, but man, I'm not impressed with what I just saw there.
And don't tell me.
And here's Jesse Kelly laying it out. Oh, you can't go after Obama. You're damn straight we are.
That's too far. The precedent has been set. I can show you Donald Trump's mugshot. The second the communists took power, they had Donald Trump arrested in every jurisdiction in the United States of America. They tried to blow his head off and send him to prison for 90 years. So don't tell me former presidents are untouchable. No, sir. The president of the United States of America cooked the books on his orders of intelligence in order to create a false narrative about the incoming president who was about to be sworn in. He used the Central Intelligence Agency like it was the DNC. He used the FBI like it was the DNC.
Yep.
He used the DNI like it was the DNC, politicking with his office. That is a crime so severe, Barack Obama should never see the light of day again. He deserves a trial, a fair trial, a public trial, because that's what the American people deserve. And then he deserves to go to prison for the rest of his natural life. And not just because I hate him, but because the next time we get a scumbag like that in the Oval Office, he has to look at Barack Obama rotting in Fort Leavenworth and say to himself, well, I guess the CIA probably isn't my political arm, so maybe I should back off of that. This moment, I'm not just saying this for radio purposes, is everything for this country. I do not believe we can hold the United States of America together if these people don't go to prison. Because the American people do not believe in their institutions anymore.
No. If we let them do this, they're going to do it again.
Ship has already sailed. And in order to earn back institutional trust, there is only one thing that works. There's not two. There's only one. Accountability.
Yep. And Lord willing, it's on its way. But are we going to hold our breaths? You know? I don't know what's taking so long, but... okay. New details in the Obama chef drowning. Deep state in panic mode. Will we be getting video of what really happened to Obama's chef from security footage held by the Secret Service?
Fox News alert, we have
X22 is saying drip, 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 flood. We shall see.
new information tonight in the drowning death of Obama's personal chef, Tafari Campbell. The Massachusetts State Police responded to our FOIA request and released their report with some redactions. According to the report, Obama was on the scene shortly after Campbell went missing. The report also states an unmanned female staffer jumped into the water when Tafari fell off his board, but it was already too late. He disappeared. We also now know that Secret Service has surveillance footage of Campbell from Obama's compound moments before he entered the water. So we're going to see if we can get that, and we may have that for you. Again, we're very, very sorry for Tafari's family. That was a serious, serious tragedy. Fox News alert.
Or it was the guy who was preparing all the meals and listening into all the arguments, and he knew everything that was going on, and you couldn't let him get away with that. All right. This goes back. This goes back. If we're going to try to understand Epstein and Trump, listen to this interview. I've played this for you before.
Obviously, our current president has had relationships with Epstein in the past, and there are those Katie Johnson and maybe other victims who have accused Trump of being involved in things like this. In my experience, Trump supporters will not listen to anything along those lines. Obviously, we're not a court of law here right now, but are those claims of that case was dropped? It was dropped before it went to court. In your opinion, as a lawyer and your experience, is there anything you can say as to the validity of those claims, or whether or not there will be any more about that?
All right. So that was the question there, the wind up. And here's the pitch.
Nothing at all. The only thing that I can say about President Trump is that he is the only person who, in 2009, when I served a lot of subpoenas on a lot of people, or at least gave notice to some pretty connected people that I wanted to talk to them, he is the only person who picked up the phone and said, let's just talk. I'll give you as much time as you want. I'll tell you what you need to know, and was very helpful in the information that he gave.
Trump was the only person out of all the people they contacted that picked up the phone and said, yeah, very helpful, and gave all the information that he could to take Epstein down. He didn't like Epstein.
And gave no indication whatsoever that he was involved in anything untoward whatsoever.
And by the way, Trump's in the Epstein files. What does that mean? You see some of these posts being shared. What does that mean? He's in the files. Dartboard, outer ring, middle ring, inner ring, bullseye. Yeah, there's a lot of photos. There's some video of them being in a same place at the same time, talking to each other a couple of times. Yeah, we do have that. That's the extent of what we have. That's the extent of it. And we have testimony. Well, I mean, not testimony, but we have this interview here corroborating just how helpful President Trump was in trying to take Epstein down when very few people were. Well, he said he's the only one that picked up the phone and called and spilled the beans, spilled the tea.
Word whatsoever, but had good information that checked out and that helped us, and that we did.
The information was good. The information Trump gave checked out, and the information that President Trump gave helped them take Epstein down.
Didn't have to take a deposition of him.
That was in 2009?
That was in 2009. So,
do you know if there's any...
Oh, that was in 2009, 7 years before. 6 years before he ran in 2015.
Any truth to James Patterson's claims that Trump kicked Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago?
I've definitely heard that.
All right, and any truth to the claims, just that last part. Let me make sure we catch this. I believe this is Derek Brose. I saw him in D.C. at the Libertarian Convention, too.
So, do you know if there's any truth to James Patterson's claims that Trump kicked Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago?
I've definitely heard that.
James Patterson's claims that Trump kicked Epstein out. That's Trump was praised by Epstein victims' attorney Brad Edwards for being the only subpoenaed individual. Out of all the people subpoenaed, he was the only one that willingly provided helpful information in the case against him. So just, I mean, I think we can go back to that. And this here just, I was told Epstein belonged to intelligence and to leave it alone. That's what the story was. Okay. The world will have to accept that Sheriff Joe was absolutely right about the phony Kenyan and his fake birth certificate, says this poster, Farm Girl Carrie. So this is CNN asking Joe Arpaio. This is an old clip. There's a Cuomo. But yeah, now we're back to trying to figure out who confirmed that the birth certificate was valid, that Obama had a right to serve in that position. It's all, we're looking backward to understand today. Alex Jones says this was run in conjunction with the CIA. The New Yorker posted this. Letter from Berlin. The German experiment that placed foster children with pedos. With the approval of the government, a renowned sexologist ran a dangerous program. How could this happen? By Rachel Aviv. Check it out. Laura Loomer being tagged here by Ann Vandersteel. Trump wants those involved in Russiagate to go to jail, but one such person is instead currently general counsel of his national security agency. Top Democrat hoax investigator is now the top lawyer at Trump's NSA. April Doss advocated for banning Trump from social media for insurrection and called for a crackdown on GOP disinformation. I don't think that's who you want in your cabinet. Clandestine says if Obama and other high-profile individuals were ever to be arrested, this is exactly how I envisioned it would play out. The public must be briefed on why it is that these people are being arrested before the arresting and make it a matter of NatSec, national security. The public must be ready to accept arrests. Otherwise, it could cause widespread chaos. The media would claim Trump is a dictator, and it could lead to public uprisings, nationwide riots, mass civilian casualties, collective psychological anguish, etc. But if the public are shown that Obama and his cabal were engaged in treasonous acts before they are arrested, the public will be more willing to accept it without sparking widespread chaos. We as a public are currently being briefed as to what happened. The idea of Obama and his cabal being arrested is being seeded and normalized. It's a gradual progression, not a Band-Aid rip. What Tulsi is doing right now is educating the public and preparing them for what's yet to come. Based on what I'm seeing and the coordination behind this rollout, I believe it's happening. As for when the arrests happen, I do not know. It will happen when the time is right, after the public are fully briefed on the crimes committed, shown the evidence, and the psychological blow has been softened. Do you agree or disagree with that? Do you agree that this is how it needs to happen and that this is what we are watching? We're watching them soften the blow by laying the case out, and that there will actually be an arrest. Do you agree or disagree? Pretty good question, I think. Epstein was at a party Joan Rivers threw back then. I've seen pics of it. Yeah, I mean, I would imagine Epstein to be everywhere. He had his private planes and he had the most expensive real estate wherever he wanted. He had no limitation on doing what he was supposed to be doing. Yeah, the elites always partied together in the same social circles, of course. Trump and Epstein are best friends, they say. But that does sort of break the narrative, doesn't it? Now, it is possible, let's play devil's advocate. It is possible Trump was friends and buddy-buddy with Epstein, and they palled around, and he started to figure out what was going on, or things took a turn, and Trump did participate in something that Epstein then busted him on and says, hey, man, I got you. You know, you might not like it, but that's the reality. That's okay. Most of the people here, they're here for the same reason. So we'll work together. It doesn't need to be a weird thing. And maybe Trump said, you know what, screw that. I'm going to take you out. And then that is why by the time 2009 got here, he was anti-Epstein, because Epstein already got him. That is a possibility. I don't know what's likely. Yeah, we got to lay out these actual pieces of information to understand what we're talking about. Yeah, lay the case out like in courtrooms, then proceed with actions, maybe holding until the right time before midterms. Perhaps. Like Leon saying it, I told you it was a pickle fight between Big Mike and the chef lost. Well, now, jeez. Pickle fight? Really? All right, here's James Fishback saying, well, I think let's just let the clip speak for itself. Costly mistakes about the Federal Reserve and how they're stealing money from us.
Jay Powell is a cherry-picking panikin. He only focuses on parts of the agenda of the president that he can then exploit, hype up, and say, here's all the bad that's going to come of it. The problem, though, Charles, is we've had 5 months of inflation data, and they've all come in better than expected and lower than expected. It's time for Jerome Powell to do the right thing for Americans and lower rates. Mortgage rates are too high. Yes. Credit card rates are too high. Yeah. We do not need interest rates near 20-year highs with inflation now at a 4-year low. Jay Powell is a cherry-picking panikin.
I mean, that makes sense to me. Amy Meck says, alert, Texas. Just one day after an Islamic terrorist murdered 14 Americans in New Orleans. God, that was 14 in New Orleans. Back at the beginning of the year. That feels like a decade ago, doesn't it? And with reports linking him to the same radical mosque network as Imam Furqan Syed, Houston officials then invited Syed to deliver an Islamic prayer at a county government meeting. A national security disgrace, they say. There's a lot of info there. There's the video, if you'd like to take a look. Here's Tulsi Gabbard breaking it down.
Shortly after coming into this position as Director of National Intelligence, I formed a special team to investigate this issue. I got to tell you, it wasn't easy. There were a lot of deep state obstacles that exist still within the intelligence community. But ultimately, we had a whistleblower who came forward that brought some critical pieces to this story. And we were able to discover these documents and find these documents that really pointed to President Obama directing his national security leaders in James Clapper and John Brennan to manufacture this January 2017 intelligence community assessment. The investigation that I led at ODNI that we released last week, Friday, provided a lot of those foundational building blocks and proof for what we know happened.
A lot of proof.
The report that we released today, the House Intelligence Committee Oversight Majority Staff report that investigated that January 2017 assessment that President Obama had manufactured with fake intelligence in order to achieve, knowingly using false intelligence in order to get to the conclusion that he wanted to promote to the American people that Putin had acted in favor of President Trump winning that election in 2016.
Knowingly and intentionally. That is a key component. Clip Keeper here. It's a good name. It was over 7 years ago when Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein was telling us that if anyone presents false information to acquire a FISA warrant, they would face consequences and potential prosecution. Why?
The way we operate in the Department of Justice, if we can accuse somebody of wrongdoing,
We have to have admissible evidence and credible witnesses. We need to be prepared to prove our case in court.
Yes, Rosie.
And we have to affix our signature to the charging document. That's something that not everybody appreciates. There's a lot of talk about FISA applications, and many people that I see talking about it seem not to recognize what a FISA application. A FISA application is actually a warrant, just like a search warrant. In order to get a FISA search warrant, you need an affidavit signed by a career federal law enforcement officer who swears that the information in the affidavit is true and correct to the best of his knowledge and belief. And that's the way we operate. And if it's wrong, sometimes it is, if you find out there's anything incorrect in there, that person is going to face consequences. Sometimes there are innocent errors, but if not, you can face discipline or potentially even prosecution. And so that's the way we operate.
That's the way we operate. Good. That's the way we operate at the Department of Justice. Good to know. Because maybe you'll face some accountability now. What is this quote? U.S. Homeland Security News. Updates about U.S. national security, border security news from D.C. I thought I saw this clip, but this is just a picture. It says, if, quote, if they arrest me, you know what to do, end quote. Cryptic message from the former president sent privately to his followers. Oh, you're going to look so good in an orange jumpsuit. Greg Gutfeld couldn't take it anymore with this lady on his show.
Hillary, and they get activated, and suddenly they won't be mad at Trump anymore for not releasing the Epstein files or whatever he had to do with any of it. It's preposterous that we were talking about Hillary Clinton's emails again in year 2025.
We spent years on this story. No, let me. We had to take this story seriously for years, and it was false.
It wasn't false.
No. For people to understand what happened, all right? Because the problem with this story is that nobody knows what you're talking about. When Trump won in 2016, the intel community concluded that Russia didn't have a hand in his victory. Instead of accepting the inclusion, Obama determined and wanted a new conclusion. So he sent Brennan running to come up with a new conclusion that there was some kind of trivial involvement that then they could feed out to the media. And coincidentally, dozens of news organizations said that Trump was in bed with Putin and that somehow Brennan knew. Brennan knew. How did he know? There was no proof. There was no proof. There was no proof.
Why did Durham do nothing then?
But no, let me finish. They amplified a false conclusion that Trump colluded with Russia in 2016. We had to spend years dealing with that. And now we're actually getting investigation.
And it took us so far off the path of governing, doing the important shit we're supposed to be doing. It became the number one thing instead of running the agenda. It was a stolen term. You could argue Trump never got a real first term because of this. And some people have argued he should get another term to make up for the term he didn't have because his own government was committing treason against him actively in an ongoing RICO case involving Biden, Obama, Clinton, Clapper, Brennan, Comey, and the rest.
You're saying, no, you know what? You guys should just move on. You guys should just move. You say the same effing thing about Biden's brain. You guys spent 4 years telling us that Joe Biden was fine.
Perhaps he's the sharpest he's ever been. Oh, he's totally fine. It was the third Obama term. Obama never intended to leave that position. The clip I played you earlier was the suggestion perhaps that Brennan had compromised info on Obama. And then Obama had info on Hillary, and he was going to use Hillary as a puppet regime. Now, I don't know. You see the powers that be in the Democrat Party. It's total chaos over there in that party. There is no leadership. Obama was untouchable, invincible, omnipotent, omniscious. Oh, he was the bee's knees, baby. And now he looks frail, weak, pathetic, lecherous, sad, scared, gray, guilty. No, you don't just get to move on from this. And yeah, Joe Biden's term was Barack Hussein Obama's third term. Make no mistake about it. Governing from the basement, like he told Stephen Colbert.
You covered up for an invalid, and then when we get the truth, it's like, oh, you know what? It's time. We got to look forward. We got to start talking about what's there. And you can bring up Epstein all you want. We, unlike Democrats, we can handle 2 things, 3 things, 4 things at once.
Doesn't seem like it.
Yeah, no. Have you been listening to the right lately? The right is more on top of Epstein than the Democrats are. The Democrats never cared about Epstein until they saw a political motivation.
Yep, maybe now we're going to care about it. You had 4 years to do whatever you wanted.
The right was into the Epstein story because women were being sex trafficked. We actually cared. But now you're like, ooh, Epstein, a political angle. Ooh, this is fantastic. Save me your selective outrage.
All right, well done, Greg. As we're looking back, we're putting the puzzle pieces together. Yeah, when's the last time? All right, here's a question of the day in the comments. Type it. Serious question. Maybe it's irrelevant, but I don't think so. I think these are all fun. When is the last time you opened up a puzzle and completed a puzzle? A puzzle. When is the last time you made a puzzle? I've been puzzling a little bit now. Got one I'm working on now. It's like kind of down to the non-discernible pieces, like the greens of trees and the muted browns of just ground. All the fun pieces have been identified, and it's like, ugh, I don't know how to finish it. All right, well, we'll find a way to finish it. But we are dumping the puzzle open onto the table and sorting the pieces by color, by shape. What's the first thing you do in a puzzle? You build the outline. You find all the straight pieces. That's transphobic. You can be straight and trans. That's not what that means. Why are you saying it? That's gay-phobic or homophobic. No, I said straight because it's the border of a puzzle. It's just they have a flat edge. Should I say flat? Not straight, because they are straight. It's a straight line. Should I say straight line or flat pieces? You should just say border piece. No, borders are racist too. You can't say borders. I don't know who this person is that jumps in my head when I play that voice. But there's someone out there that really does believe in talk that. Play the rest of Gutfeld, please. Wait, that was the end of the clip. Or did I pause it and talk for a minute or two and then get back to it? Deb has commented how I start conversations and then I go away to other things and I come back to them. She would prefer that I continue having the conversation, but I'm juggling chainsaws over here. I unpack things when I can unpack them, and they often happen whenever they happen to happen. Okay, quote of the question of the day. Lake Leon says 25 plus years ago is the last time you've done a puzzle. Well, maybe the universe wants you to puzzle again. Are you puzzled by this request? Puzzling's fun. Puzzling's good. It works the brain. Because there's ways to do it based on color, based on shape, based on general location. Like you kind of move. I don't know. There's a lot to it. I do like it. I did play the rest of Gutfeld. Let's see. My last puzzle was yesterday in between knitting and crocheting. Man, you got all the hobbies, huh? What is that? A picture of Mike Pence? Is that Mike Pence? Or is that? It's so small on the screen. I just see. I see the white hair. Doesn't this look a little bit like 4 Mike Pences? Oh, Mike Pence. So Nick did 2 Christmases ago the puzzles. Yeah, I've been puzzling, and I really want to finish this one. I'm just stuck. I'm sort of. It's very tedious at this stage. There's not TDS, Trump Derangement Syndrome. Okay, that's old lady, Granny Deb, says Lake Leon. Oh, it looks like Mike Pence actually with the Lego hair. Is that Lego hair? It's so hard to see down there. I mean, it's minuscule on the screen. Anyway, As we look backward, let's remember, the Obamas. Who are the Obamas? Well, let's take a listen to this person that goes by the name of Michelle. Let's make sure we don't retweet this video.
Harvey Weinstein for organizing this amazing day. Harvey. This is possible because of Harvey.
Harvey Weinstein. Oh, look at the look that Whoopi Goldberg is shooting. Side-eyed. I think she knows who Harvey Weinstein is.
He is a wonderful human being.
He's a wonderful human being, says this person that goes by the name of Michelle.
Is a wonderful human being, a good friend, and just a powerhouse. And the fact that he and his team took the time to make this happen for all of you should say something, not about me or about Harvey Weinstein.
Okay. Thanking Harvey Weinstein. Glenn Greenwald, who is one of the best voices you're going to want to listen to. He's in like the top 50, easy. The voices you want to listen to. Ooh, that's a good question of the day, actually. I wonder how many people should be in the upper echelon of this conversation. I do wonder how many people. Matt Taibbi, Mike Benz, Glenn Greenwald, Cernovich. God, there's so many thought leaders, so many good opinion makers and interesting perspectives. Glenn Greenwald says the brazen fabrication of the Russiagate hoax by the U.S. intelligence community and their media partners for purely political ends, all of which was visible from the start, was and is the only genuine scandal involving Trump and the Kremlin. There you go. Sean Davis says, even after John Brennan was told by career intel experts that the Steele dossier was garbage, Brennan ignored them and forced its inclusion in the ICA. Yes, but doesn't it ring true? Brennan reportedly responded after being told the Steele dossier failed to meet basic tradecraft standards. It was all a setup. Bearing false witness. It's right there in the 10 Commandments. Don't bear a false witness. Carolyn Levitt says Barack Obama went to great and nefarious lengths to try to thwart the will of the people and sabotage his successor, President Trump. It's one of the greatest political scandals in American history. Truth is, President Trump never had anything to do with Russia, and the Russia collusion hoax was a massive fraud from the beginning. Obama knew this, and so did all the other corrupt officials involved in the scam, including former CIA Director John Brennan, former Director of National Intelligence James Clapper, former FBI Director James Comey, former Deputy Director Andrew McCabe, and so many others. President Trump was right from the beginning about all this, and we're grateful that justice can finally be served. This is purporting to show in the state of Arizona, illegal aliens caught on camera, one by one, admitting they're registered to vote and voting for Harris. The claim continues from Real Robert. As it was discovered, Katie Hobbs inserted 10,000 illegal aliens using the same exact Social Security number who already voted in the 2020 presidential election from the Oversight Project. Not entirely certain if this is verified, but the report is here. Take a look at this and do some research. Arizona, one of the fraud states. Anna Paulina Luna talking with Glenn Beck about the significance of all this.
If they don't arrest people, this systemic corruption will just continue. And I always think, Glenn, it's serendipitous timing, because right now we're also seeing so much come out about Martin Luther King, JFK, and the connections to the intelligence agencies then. And as you're seeing, those resulted in the death of a sitting U.S. president, as well as some of the most historical civil rights leaders at our time. And so what I'll tell you is there must be action. It can't just be, strongly worded letters. A lot of people say, well, why isn't Congress doing more? And so I'd like to just remind people, because Congress is not a enforcement mechanism. The only tool that we really have is inherent contempt. And that's something that even then, so a lot of Republicans are squeamish on using. So it's going to be the Department of Justice that will have to make arrests. And mind you, 18 U.S. Code 1001 says that if you are charged with lying to Congress or falsifying, for example, reports that it comes with a 7-year sentence and up to $250,000 fine.
So somebody told me, they said, Glenn, what are you going to charge him with? And I said, falsifying documents.
Oh, absolutely falsifying documents. But there's no reason to stop short of just calling treason.
He said it's the intel community. That's what they do for a living. How many times have they falsified? And I'm like, well, but that's not right. I mean,
No, it's not right.
Right.
It's not right. And it's also not right that they then used it to illegally surveillance using unconstitutional means, violating the civil liberties of many people. And they really use this to destroy lives. I've yet to really see many of the mainstream outlets dedicate the time that they dedicated to push the Russia hoax to really retracting and correcting this. And they haven't.
Anna Paulina Luna getting it done. Oh, Mike Pompeo. And let's listen to Pompeo. He was a key player.
If you're Vladimir Putin, would you rather have Joe Biden or Donald Trump as the president of the United States? The answer is really easy. You invaded Ukraine when President Biden was there. You invaded Ukraine when President Obama was there. You didn't touch the darn thing when President Trump was there. I think it actually proves itself. But if you want to get even deeper about the things we did in the first Trump administration, we provided defensive weapon systems to Ukraine. Obama refused. Biden didn't want to do it. We made energy prices low by building here, drilling here. That hurt Putin dramatically. We put enormous number of sanctions on the Russian regime. We had real deterrence. And I am confident that Trump, the second version of Trump, the second term of President Trump, will do precisely the same. This narrative that somehow President Trump or Donald Trump was a Russian asset or connected to Putin or that Putin had some goods on him has always been false. It's always been known to be false, and yet was distributed by the mainstream media and by a White House that was determined to push back against the lost election.
So George Papadopoulos snaps back, replies to this post. And yes, you're right, Lake Leon. Pompeo did lose a lot of weight. A lot of weight. George Papadopoulos here says, sources in Italy have told me that Pompeo willfully held critical information that the Italian government presented during Trump's first term that would have stopped Mueller and the coup before it started. Pompeo was then CIA director. I don't think Pompeo gets to play good guy in this. I don't think so. He failed Trump over and over again if he wasn't actively subverting his efforts to govern. Here's the peeling of an onion. Carrie Lake says one of the biggest shockers from today's White House briefing with Director Tulsi Gabbard was the Department of State working with the Hillary Clinton campaign, offering kickbacks to religious groups and organizations who supported Hillary. Wow, Carrie Lake. Seems to me a lot of federal employees could be implicated. Obama's involvement in Hillary's health issues did not surprise me because I've been paying attention. This is just the first layer of a very, very large onion being peeled back. The public was told that Obama wasn't there. Why was there a lie? Why was there a cover-up? Was this more than just a drowning? Didn't Obama show up with bandages on his hands? Wasn't that a thing? He was golfing and he was... What was the story? What was that all about? This is Alex Rosing reporting on Virginia Beach police lying about arresting a child predator. They were told he was arrested, being held on no bond. In reality, he was never even booked. So watch this report if you want to and dig into that. Abuse of a 6-year-old kid. Yeah, Pompeo did fail big time. Or he did exactly what he intended to do. He might have succeeded at doing what he intended to do. Charlie Kirk says, wow, page 17 of the declassified House Intel Committee report is wild. It reveals that Russia had huge amounts of potential anti-Clinton dirt that it sat on in the final days of the 2016 campaign. The claims that Hillary was on heavy tranquilizers, I mean, suffering intensified psycho-emotional problems, type 2 diabetes and severe health ailments, ischemic heart disease, Internal DNC communications that Obama and others found Hillary's health extraordinarily alarming. There it is, the secret meetings with religious leaders where Clinton offered significant increases in funding from the State Department in return for their support, bribes. Internal Democrat admissions that European allies were unenthusiastic about a Clinton presidency and thought she was not up to the job of head of state. If Russia was really all in on supporting Trump and hurting Clinton, it would have leaked this information in October of 2016, with her lead in the RCP average slipping to just 1.3 points. 1.5. There we go. Instead, Russia didn't, completely debunking the core assumptions of the Russia hoax. Rather than admit they were wrong, Brennan's CIA buried all of this info and manufactured a completely alternate reality to undermine the legitimacy of President Trump. Catherine Herridge reporting that these declassified records that Tulsi released makes the case the 2017 Intel Community Assessment was ordered by and subject to unusual directives from Obama. There it is, highlighted right there. Draft not properly coordinated with IC components purposely deviated from professional standards to ensure publication without significant challenges to its conclusions. Clandestine says it's a smoking gun. It's right there. Abnormally handled by Obama's intelligence heads and just 5 selected CIA analysts. Proof that Obama made the call himself. Obama created Russiagate, and that's treason. So here's the throwdown. Oh, it's a cat fight. It's a pillow fight. You got Caitlin Collins of Fake News CNN, Tulsi Gabbard, Director of National Intelligence, and Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt. Enjoy.
Dr. Gabbard, you referenced the past intelligence reports and assessments on this, including that 2017 one that was signed off, as Ed noted, by every Republican on the Senate Intelligence Community, including the acting chair of the time, now Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who said in a statement that they did not find any evidence of Russian collusion, but they did find, however, is very troubling, and they found irrefutable evidence of Russian meddling. One, are you saying that he's wrong in that statement that he made then? And secondly, what would you say to people who believe that you're only releasing these documents now to improve your standing with the president after he said that your intelligence assessments were wrong?
Well, first, I want to correct something that you stated, which was citing the Senate Intelligence Committee's report as being one and the same. I think you said the intelligence community. The Senate Intelligence Committee has a very different function than the Office of the Director of National Intelligence. The evidence and the intelligence that has been declassified and released is irrefutable. I'm going to let Caroline speak to Secretary Rubio.
I'll speak to both questions. First, on Secretary Rubio, he put out a statement in 2020 following that Senate Intelligence Committee report, and he said what they found is troubling. We found irrefutable evidence of Russian meddling, which the Director of National Intelligence just confirmed for all of you, that Russia was trying to sow distrust and chaos. But what's the outrage in this that Secretary Rubio did not say at the time, the Democrats were saying at the time, is the fact that the intelligence community was concocting this narrative that the president colluded with the Russians, that the president's son was holding secret meetings with the Russians, all of these lies that were never true. And he also said at that time, we discovered deeply troubling actions taken by the FBI under Comey, particularly their...
Hold on, let me pause right there. Don't forget about Uranium One and the shady Clinton dealings with Russia, mind you.
That the president colluded with the Russians, that the president's son was holding secret meetings with the Russians, all of these lies that were never true. And he also said at that time, we discovered deeply troubling actions taken by the FBI under Comey, particularly their acceptance and willingness to rely on the Steele dossier without verifying its methodology or sourcing. The Steele dossier that many outlets in this room ran as the gospel truth, and it was cooked up and paid for by the Clinton campaign.
Perkins Coie, Hillary Clinton, Democrat Party, Steele dossier was a setup, bearing fault witness, frame job, collusion, election interference, civil liberty violations, circumventing the will of the people, rigging an election. How much treason do you need to put together? Because yeah, it is. If you are blocking the right of the people, the self-determination of the people to pick and choose a representative, that is treason. You have stolen the right of the people That is the key cornerstone in our constitutional republic, that we get to select the people that are going to represent us. And for far too long, we put Republicans in. I mean, we've known the Democrats have been off the reservation for a long time. Off the reservation? You can't appropriate that term. You remember the Trail of Tears? Yeah, they're off the reservation. Absolutely. Seeing that the Democrat Party has a 19% approval rating feels a little generous to me. It's hard to envision people really going gung-ho and feeling proud of that Democrat Party and what they've grown to represent. But so many Republicans have been deep state actors that just, they'll talk the talk. They'll throw some issues out there to keep you distracted while they loot the country. A lot of Republicans that have held positions have not been on our side. So, I mean, are we shocked to see these potentially never before seen measures playing out in order to get rid of the guy that gets to be autonomous in that role of president? Oh, the deep state wouldn't like that. You're supposed to just be our puppet and do what you're told. Listen, young man or young lady, we've been at this for a lot longer than you have. You're going to listen to us and you're going to do as we say, or else we're going to put you out there in Dealey Plaza. We're going to send you out in a motorcade. You don't think we can do that? We could do that right now if we wanted to. So effectively, the United States has been long overthrown in a coup by the deep state. And they've been getting away with it year after year, which, by the way, if there are some geopolitical means to ends and there's some global politics and there's things that, there's mining and there's production of resources and there's profit and there's all, there's a couple of things. Look, we're all big boys and girls. We understand it. We get it. We know. We know there's a lot going on and it's a lot to describe and it's, maybe not all of it's whatever. Okay. But if you were number one taking care of the American people instead of trying to replace the American people, trying to make sure that we're profitable, make sure that we are self-sufficient, but they don't want that either. They don't want that. They don't want a population that has fuck you money. They want a population that's like vibrating at a state of chaos. Very manipulatable, very controllable, very scared. Servants, slaves. The deep state tried to kill the goose that laid the golden egg. Yes. How dare you? That's the Greta Thunberg, however she pronounces her name. I mean, how many Americans would have really given a shit then? But that would have to be if Americans were earning living wages fairly, easily is a strange term, but like if your money had a bunch of purchase power and you were earning a decent living and saving and building nest eggs and doing well, how many people would really care about all the ancillary stuff going on? Well, they turned their back on the American people, the deep state did a long time ago. They do not have the consent of the governed, and they think they're invincible. They think, Chuck Schumer, they got 6 ways from Sunday from coming at you and getting you. Okay, that sounds like we've been conquered by a foreign invader. That sounds like we're at war and they captured you. Can you blink SOS any more clearly at us? We are in not just the Israel war, not just the Ukraine war. We're in an internal war with the deep state. They've presumably stolen this country how many times? It's one thing if they're working in a Central American country and they have a favored candidate and this and that, and okay, to some degree you at least understand a little bit of what those shady agencies are up to, but not to turn that shadiness inward. They're not supposed to be operating on American soil, overthrowing our duly elected leaders. They're supposed to be working with our duly elected leaders. And that's what's happening here. It's a tug of war between the deep state and MAGA.
As for your second question, Caitlin, I think who is saying that she would release this to try to boost her standing with the president? Who has said that?
Well, the president has publicly undermined her when it came to Iran. He said she was wrong. He told me that she didn't know what she was talking about. That was on Air Force One on camera.
The only people who are suggesting that the Director of National Intelligence would release evidence to try to boost her standing with the president are the people in this room who constantly try to sow distrust and chaos amongst the president's cabinet, and it is not working. I will just answer your question directly. I am with the President of the United States every day. He has the utmost confidence in Director Gabbard. He always has. He continues to. And that is true of his entire cabinet, who is all working as one team to deliver on the promises this president made.
All right. Strong words. Here's the original tweet. Remember this? Watch this as we look backward. Remember this weird moment, that weird wacky waving inflatable arm man dance? And look at everybody circle around right there. You know, there's nobody up there. They're all just kind of whatever. Doesn't move. Not moving. Wobbly. Spaghetti legs. Hillary Clinton. Now everybody gets tight. Try to cover this up. How often was this happening? What was happening to Hillary at this point? Couldn't move. I mean, she went down. She would have busted her teeth out if she was about ready to fall face forward right there. Once again, we're working our way backward. Try to remember where we came from. There's so many moments we forgot. Yeah, right there. She went and took a step off of there and she would have knocked her teeth out. Maybe that's Hillary's phone. Her battery died. LOL. Oh yeah, that is the thought, that we are in a spiritual war for sure. It's the training ground. We either go with the dark side or we fight, you know. And that when we're done with the video game, we're gonna check the scores. How did we do? George Papadopoulos here says U.S. spy boss James Robert Clapper makes secretive visit to Australia. Read this to understand why Clapper has lawyered up and how far back the conspiracy goes and which other foreign governments were involved in Obamagate. Flashback. Remember when 27 members of the deep state working for Mueller on his fake investigation of Trump say that they accidentally deleted what? Huh.
Then special counsel Robert Mueller's team accidentally wiped at least 27 phones used during their anti-Trump probe before
Really?
the inspector general could review them.
Wow, that reminds me of the Unselect Committee deleting all of their information when they tried to frame Trump for an insurrection that didn't happen. Huh. It's almost like it's an ongoing RICO conspiracy case, spanning at least 9 years.
FBI lovebird Lisa Page, whose phone was, quote, restored to factory settings, and Mueller deputy Andrew Weissman, who, quote, entered his password too many times. If this isn't the height of hypocrisy, I don't know what is. Could you imagine if someone Mueller's team was trying to investigate wiped their phones? Joining me now on this and much, much more, VP of the Trump Organization and author of Liberal Privilege, Donald Trump Jr.
Donald Trump Jr. seems to have aged quite a bit since then.
There the book is. All right, Don, if you had
Wiped it? You mean like with a cloth?
so much as deleted an app on your iPhone, you would have been behind bars right now. How can this happen?
100%. It's absolutely insane. And it's not like, I don't even know anyone who's ever deleted a phone, period. Certainly not by accident. But 27 times?
What are the chances?
All magically once they're under investigation? Honestly, who's going to start investigating the investigators, Jesse? This is the most corrupt garbage I've ever seen in my entire life. If I'd have deleted a comma out of an email that didn't actually change anything, I'd be in jail if I did that right now.
Yeah, your
But pieces of
punctuation's
garbage like
perfect.
Andrew Weitzman, who was brought in to put in a hit, you know, he can get away with these kind of things because the deep state is held to a different standard.
And these were
And that different standard is just out of control. We need to just be making America the best place it can be and trying to do the best we can on the global stage. It's been actively destroying us and destroying this country for so long. Really an enemy inside the gates, a Trojan horse, a pox upon our houses.
DOJ phones. So this is Department of Justice property. 27 of them are wiped, destroyed. One of them, you couldn't even see the screen. It was completely obliterated. I mean, this is what Hillary did. Smashing iPhones with hammers.
You mean wiped it like with a cloth?
Smashing iPhones with hammers, acid washing. This is what they do. I remember Lois Lerner, IRS. She mysteriously wiped all those emails. I mean, if these are the people that are running things, this is covering up the cover-up.
100%. I mean, this is what we've been talking about for 4 years. Again, there's just different rules for those people. Guys like me don't get to play by those rules. We actually have to follow the law. But if you're Robert Mueller, if you're one of his henchmen,
Yeah, you don't have to play by their rules. But it's time we change that. Definitely time for consequences. Brian Cates says, as I said several times yesterday, if nothing was going to happen. By the way, hello, Unholy Hoax in the comments there from San Antonio. But Unholy Hoax, I do forget your name. I do have to ask some of our regulars, what is your name? And I feel like you've told me more times than others. I got to remember it. I remember San Antonio. I remember Unholy Hoax. But I forget your name. I might have just recently asked you. Sorry about that. But I am curious. I do try to remember. Anyway, Brian Cates, as I said several times yesterday, if nothing was going to happen. All right. Let's imagine a universe where nothing was going to happen. Brian Cates says, let's say Trump is engaging in major self-sabotage, if nothing was going to happen, by sitting in the White House live on camera and telling the press that Obama needs to be investigated for treason. If he's saying it needs to happen while making sure that it doesn't happen, well, then Trump is just fucking with everybody. Trump has been sending clear signals about what needs to happen. If he didn't want this happening, it would not be happening. The declassifications would not be occurring. The referrals would not be sent. DNI Gabbard would not be telling the media right to their faces in the White House press room that she sent a criminal referral to Pam Bondi with Barack Obama's name on it. Stop listening to social media influencers and conservative media celebrities who infiltrated us from the neocon media conglomerate, filling your head with annoyingly sourced effing BS about what's going on with Pam and Dan and Cash or whoever. Anybody telling you Susie Wiles is really running the country, running the White House, or regaling you with tall tales about how much she's hiding from the social media president and Dan Scavino Jr. is messing with you. Come back to the real world. It's nice here. This post says, hey, nice house of cards you got there, Washington, D.C. Be a real shame if someone utterly effing destroyed it. Tulsi Gabbard was asked, are you referring former President Obama to the DOJ for criminal implications? Correct, says Tulsi Gabbard. All right, so what say you on this topic, people? Candace Owens just doubled down on Brigitte Macron being a man in response to her getting sued. Take a watch.
You were born a man and you will die a man. That's the point I'm making. So give us a sample. I'll send my doctors to take your blood. Figure it out real quick, however you want to go about this. Hey, how about just giving us some pictures again of you growing up, raising your children? That would be fine. For whatever reason, to phone, by the way, like I said, we'll get to the bottom of it, right? That is what Discovery is for. I'm going to ask a lot of questions. You're probably hoping, this will go away and at least we'll say we sued her. We'll say we went after her. She'll probably file for this to get dismissed. I'd like to make it to Discovery. I think that we owe that to the world. Anyways, you guys, we are revolting against this. We're revolting against the perverts that run the world. And I want to be very clear here. I count you among them. I think you're sick. I think you're disgusting. And I am fully prepared to take on this battle on behalf of the entire world. Okay? That's what I'm going to say. On behalf of the entire world, I will see you in court.
Candace throwing down. Do you agree with Candace Owens that Brigitte Macron, as the person is known, was born a man and will die a man? Do you agree or disagree with Candace Owens? Well, we gonna find out. Candace is sassy. All right, Chris, everybody, John Boy and Deb. Okay, seriously, we got to check on Kenneth. Haven't heard from Kenneth in a while. Also, have we seen David today? Is Sid lurking in the comments, not chatting? Which other regulars are sitting here hanging out? Hello, Chris. Unholy Hoax is Chris in San Diego, San Francisco, San Antonio. There you go. Hi, Chris. I'll try to remember that. I love how in the comments I'm like, oh, what's your real name again? Unholy Hoax. Who said it first? Amber. It's not Amber. See, we have a resident troll called Amber. Amber chimes in to copy and paste some stuff with us. Hillary, like with a cloth. Let's see if I can find this clip. Let me make sure we... Wait, what? Remember Hillary's arrest? Her shoe was left behind? That's all that's left of her. Leg cuffs regulate the length of the step. I don't know what that's about. Like with the cloth. Where's the video? Why can't I find the video?
What, like with a cloth or something? A cloth. Funny. Not even close. A congressman tells Fox News
What, like with a
just
cloth?
how far the Hillary Clinton campaign team went to erase her emails and keep them secret. And details on how Clinton's team really did wipe her secret server clean. What, like with a cloth or something? A cloth.
What an asshole. I wish that clip was a little longer. But you see her start to smile right at the end of it. The smile's starting to creep out here. It's milliseconds. She knows she's full of it. Yeah, what? Like with a cloth? Where's the full? I don't have a full one. Okay. Anyway, you get the point. Which page am I on here? Oh, okay. There we go. All right. So Matt and Trey get $1.5 billion. Now they have to hurry up and do a South Park. I don't know how much of this I can play for you. I want to.
Listen, I didn't want to come back and be in the school, but I had to because it was part of a lawsuit and the agreement with Paramount.
I didn't want to come back, but I had to as part of an agreement with Paramount. I believe Paramount is the company that owns South Park now, that pays South Park. No, we do love Amber, by the way. Actually, you know what? Let me now you got me thinking about Kenneth. I'm going to say knock, knock. I'm going to say knock, knock. You good? Question mark. All right, I sent Kenneth a message. Yeah, I really don't want to. Yeah, I've been wondering where's he? Yo, where he be? Where he be, Kenneth? All right, agree, says Nick Adams. Hello. Oh, there's Chris. There's Chris on Facebook too. Look at this. Unholy Hoax. Look at this. I like when people are signed in on multiple devices. By the way, let me give you a piece of good news. And I say good news tongue in cheek. Very tongue in cheek. Because I don't, I'd rather have this than not have this. But after a very long time hustling, every day I'm hustling, feeling like my content's been shadow banned, we are getting very close to being able to monetize our YouTube channel again. Okay, all right. Not a big deal since, we have been monetized for quite some time on our YouTube channel, but that had been taken away several years ago. They did not like the stories we were covering, and they shut us down and shadow banned and censored us. They've been trying to hit us with copyright claims and hard strikes and all sorts of other happy horse shit. But, we are trending toward, it's saying how many valid public watch hours in the last 365 days. It looks like we're within 700. We're on path. We're on path to get our monetization back. So let me ask this to you folks out there, by the way. If you would find it in your hearts to watch some of our previous content, I would never suggest you just let a video on YouTube play and let a 3-hour episode just play on its own when you're out cutting the grass just to boost those numbers. Wink, wink. Would never say something like that. But yeah, check out our previous content, or just let some of our stuff play. Let the replay play. Just let it stay on its loop. The quicker we can get an extra, and as opposed to like our normal numbers, we need to grab an extra. It looks like in 365 days, so some of these will drop off. Let's just say we need an extra. We'll round it up to 800. We need 800 extra minutes. Is it possible for you folks out there, all of our regulars, to find 800 extra minutes of New American Media content from our 14 years of shows and 2,000 video uploads from our backlog? Is it possible on YouTube to find 800 extra minutes to watch some previously unwatched videos? Look, just scroll by most watched videos and see some of the most interesting interviews. If you could find it in your heart to do so, maybe consider trying to chip away, grab knock some pieces off of that 800 minutes. You watch a 3-hour show, bam, 797, bam, 780, bam, 750, bam, 725. All right, we're in the sixes. If everybody could watch 10 extra hours of something and just let it play in the background or something. It's a big ask, I know, because there's only so many hours in the day, but the quicker we can just grab 800 views, 800 hours of watched minutes. Seems like a lot, but it's not. Valid public watch hours. We are like dangerously close here to being able to apply as eligible for monetization again. So that's a fun update. So for anyone out there thinking about it, please consider playing as many hours of TNAM footage as you possibly can in the next, I don't know, next week, this week, today, this next month. We'll make a game out of it. Check back with me and I'll refresh the account, the stats, to see how we're growing. And it's been hard to grow. It just feels like we got 6,500 subscribers, and it's like, do they even see our content? We've had how many regulars tell us constantly, kind of like, man, it's hard to find the show. I didn't get notifications. We've heard every version of that you can imagine. but we are theoretically on the precipice of being monetized again. So if any of you could participate in that, I would appreciate it. Thank you so much. Deb saying I have no way to reach Kenneth, but I haven't seen him at Mike Barra's or Blake's either. All right. Did I give you an update on Mike? I talked to him yesterday. I think I did. We're thinking maybe Tuesday afternoons for Strictly Football. And like I said, the schedule may change. It might have to go to evenings or super early mornings in the not so distant future. But for now, we're thinking maybe Tuesdays to bring Strictly Football. So overdue for a show of Strictly Football. My goodness. Beyond overdue. Whoop, put Strictly Football on that screen. I meant to put it here. I don't know why it doesn't stretch the whole length of the screen here. But yeah, Strictly Football is about ready to come back. I just love football so much. I know it's irrelevant, but guys, I need some sort of outlet so I don't drive myself crazy with these news stories, right? Deb hates football. Unholy Hoax says, me too. Does that mean me too? Did somebody misgender you, or did somebody was somebody trying to sexualize you, like the Me Too movement? No, I'm just kidding. You're saying me too. I love football. Who's your favorite team down there? San Antonio doesn't have a team. You have, I mean, what? You got the Texans, you got the Cowboys. What else? Who do you root for down there? What's our prize, Brian? Well, shit. Great question. Should we do something I would love to find out. Go back on my Google AdSense revenue forms. Yeah, but when we dropped that John McAfee show, I mean, like we were really ascending. Some of these checks were starting to become, all right, this is significant. This is paying some bills. I mean, they just threw a smoke bomb down the hallway and messed everything up for years. What's the prize? Good question. I don't know. I mean, the prize would be making sure the show is fully funded. I love nothing more than hanging out and talking about the news. You know, in the modern world, you need to sell merchandise or collect enough donations and get enough ad revenue to pay all of your bills. So it's relevant that it matters. So to me, it would matter in that regard. But I love doing this. If I could do this full time, and I've dedicated the last couple of years doing this full time, completely on my dime and at great expense. So even if it's just a little thing like getting YouTube monetized again, like I said, I can't build my foundation over there. I'd fully just expect them to hit me with, you know how Clapper, Comey, Brennan, Obama, Biden, Clinton, how they all framed Trump to just take him out. I would fully expect the same type of thing to happen with Google. Guess what? I'm monetized. Oh, wait, we're gonna go back and hit a 13-year-old video with a copyright strike or a hard strike on misinformation and never define what it is. Never have to appeal on the process. Yeah, they just give you like a generic term, but they don't let you appeal. They never define what the problem was. They don't let you correct it. They just censor you. But you know what? I'm going to exist in this space. I'm just going to keep leaning. I don't know. I don't know what else to say. I love this and I want to do this full time. In order for that to happen, it needs to happen. Like things need to pop. We got to break through the censorship regime. Rumble is the backup, but all the monetization there, I mean, it really is just pennies. Whereas Google AdSense, I mean, I was starting to do very okay. I could see, all right, if I double my shows, I got a plan. I could do this full time and I wouldn't have to work these other jobs. Well, they didn't like that because I wasn't on Team Comey, Clapper, Brennan, Obama, Biden, Clinton. Anyway, I digress. But yes, thank you, Lake Leon. We do love Amber. Maybe Amber will come back and copy paste and get paid $20 to troll our account. Deb says liars treat everything like a joke because it's the narrative of total denial. I'm tired of hustling because pole dancing hurts his back. I mean, look, I'm going to have to be resorted to. I wonder if they have a site like Only Pundits, only talk show hosts, only hosts. Lake Leon, sure, I can do it. Awesome. Well, I hope you can find some value in it. I mean, I'm talking with musicians, I'm talking with politicians, I'm talking with, I mean, shit, go down the list. There's a lot of cool content on there. I hope some of it's interesting, valuable, teachable maybe, or just fun. But yeah, that'd be awesome if you guys could get me across the finish line and get that account back to being monetized. Because who knows, maybe if you just crack through the algorithm, something will break and it'll allow if the dam bursts, if you get that pinhole, the pinhole will now lead to the dam bursting and all of that coming back down. I know Louder with Crowder just completely bailed on YouTube. There's no point trying to mess with them as a business partner, which is why they shifted exclusively to Rumble, and they have some sort of fancy, lucrative agreement worked out with them, and they get massive views. Good for them. I'm still trying to build over on that platform. 6,500 subscribers on YouTube, but only 150 on Rumble. But look, day by day, step by step, it's the journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step, right? So, yeah. All right. Nick says, I can certainly help. That's awesome. That would also give you a chance to check out the backlog. Like I said, 14 years of stuff. You're going to find documentaries and interviews and random shows, and you're going to find some interesting stuff if you go through the back catalogs for sure. And I'd be very curious for anyone to report back like, hey, I was watching some of your stuff and found this thing. It was something that resonates with you. Like, oh crap, I didn't know you talked to so-and-so. That was cool. I liked the part where you did the thing or where the guy said the stuff or But yeah, thank you, Nick Adams. You can help. Nick, when is your first episode of the Nick Adams Show, by the way? Okay, that's some good girl math right there. I'm 800 viewable hours away from monetization. And that's on top of what's regularly happening. So I'm just trying to like jump it and just break through the finish line and open that up again, open that locked door. But yeah, there's girl math. That's only 4 3-hour videos, and we'll get you to that 800. It feels like it sometimes, huh? Hello, John Brennan. How are you, John? Is that John Boy? Is that John Boy, John Brennan? Is John logging in from every device or every app? He's on Facebook, he's on X, he's on Rumble and YouTube. That is what I'm talking about. That is a super user right there. Is that John Boy, John Brennan? I'm guessing that's what we got going on here. Oh, there's one. Play a video while you sleep and turn off the volume. Oh, now I wouldn't suggest gaming the system, the algorithm that way. But hey, look, viewable hours are viewable hours. And if you're listening to the show, even just by proximity, you'd have to assume osmosis, even with limited volume, you'd absorb the content. But yeah, I don't know what the prize is, but if we can get ad dollars coming back in, maybe we'd have a war chest to give out prizes again. But all right. Deb reminding me every time I bring up sports, she's like, oh my God, I don't want to talk about sports. Sports are the dumbest thing ever. But sports is the core, the essence, the heart of America. I won't give you the whole diatribe now, but the point is the lessons learned in sports are what makes America great. And what we've lost in the sporting world and giving trophies to everyone. And there's a correlation to our society completely collapsing and becoming restorative, bringing it back together. Oh no, Unholy Hoax is saying me too, as in I hate football. Ay, Dios mío, qué lástima. No bueno. No sports, period. For John, if I do watch it, it's rodeo. Yeah, presidential, professional bull riders, PBR. That used to be a client at a company I worked at. Hot date with Brian and Nimbus. Unholy does audio and video production. What type of stuff do you work on, Unholy Hoax? Which audio and video production projects do you do? No, you will not take Nimbus. Nobody's taking Nimbus, by the way. Don't get to Kentucky often. Kentucky's a nice place to visit. It really is. All right. Enough already. We'll watch the damn videos. Okay. Well, look, I want to play you some of this stuff from South Park, but I am trying like hell to avoid getting copyrights. And I know that Comedy Central's pretty protective over their South Park properties. But they're back. South Park kicked off season 27. Look at this. They put Donald Trump in bed with Satan. There you go. Hey, guys. Hey, buddy.
Ask for, sir.
So they are taking President Trump, who's getting all these paintings made. There he is in bed with Saddam. Well, remember Saddam Hussein was doing the South Park bits in bed with the devil. And now they put Trump in bed with the devil.
Hey, Satan. I don't want to right now.
I don't want to right now. All right. Shared by the Republicans against Trump account. Okay. So I need to watch the episode. My friend, who I was with, at the moment it happened, we were dining, and he was called by South Park to license footage from January 6th to be used on the final season finale episode of South Park. I was with him when he negotiated it. He's like, how much do you want it? He's like, oh my God, South Park. He's like, I bet, is this a real phone call? And he and I were just talking about South Park on the drive over there. Yep, there you go. Patriot Warrior leaves a message on Rumble. I am chatting on here and ScrewTube and Crackbook and Twitter X. That's awesome. That's super usage right there. That is fun. Thank you. So anyway, we're ordering barbecue and having a beer, and he licensed J6 footage to be used by the guys at South Park. And it was like a couple days out. That's how quick they knock their episodes out. They think of something in the news and they pump an episode like instantaneously. They've done documentaries explaining how fast they can crank out their shows. And it's pretty astonishing. It's pretty interesting. It's inspiring. It kind of is the new way forward. But anyway, I'm going to watch that episode for sure. You know, they're showing him and Epstein and kind of linking him with Satan. And it's like, all right, so let's see if it's funny first. Doge Designer here says Starlink satellites are going to broadcast direct to your mobile phones. No dead zone anywhere in the world for your cell phone. Your phone will work even if there are no cell towers, and Starlink will save lives. I mean, Elon's got to be super happy that he's out of the political limelight and getting back to just doing things, building products. Would you, there's a good question of the day. Would you buy an X phone? I mean, I like what I have, but it's a Google product. Google has silenced and censored you. They've silenced and censored and demonetized me, getting in between my ability to earn a living doing what I love. They will censor me. I don't like that my phone is a Google product. I hate it. What's my other option? Apple? I mean, Apple's got its own set of problems. But would you get a phone from Starlink? Would you get an X phone? I would be interested in an X phone. Oh, I'd be very interested in an X phone. So look, it's nice to see Thomas Massie talking about something that's not a personal vendetta between him and Trump. I'm a Thomas Massie fan, but I do find the Trump-Massie feud to be a little unpalatable, if I could be so blunt. I don't like it. I want them to be working together on fixing some of the major problems in the country. So here's Thomas Massie with Tim Pool breaking down what we've learned about the treason from our federal government.
Do you think, a lot of people like Tulsi Gabbard herself said this was a treasonous conspiracy? First question is on the part of government. Do you agree with that assessment that the Obama administration was conspiring to undermine the authority, at first the campaign, then the authority of Donald Trump?
If you're asking me to tell you if I'm surprised that this was going on, the answer would be absolutely not. Like, my default position, Tim, is that this whole mess up here is a treasonous conspiracy. That pretty much everybody it's in D.C. that is part of a treasonous conspiracy. So,
So to clarify, just to clarify, you're saying yes, but kind of come on, they're all doing it and worse?
Come on, we already knew this was happening.
But we did know this was happening. We've been saying this year after year, and we're just going, so the Democrats once get away with every illegal thing they're doing, and the Republicans keep getting framed and boxed out of the conversation. And by Republicans, I don't mean, the Liz Cheney, Lindsey Graham, Jeb Bush stuff. I mean, real libertarian-leaning, constitutionalist-leaning, anti-democrat, non-New World Order, those people. Not the deep state, because the Republican deep state is just as bad as the Democrat deep state. They're in on it together. It's a wrestling match. They're playing bad guy together. But for far too long, it's felt like Democrats get away with everything, including bloody murder. And the Republicans are framed for sneezing too loud. And it gets really old.
That's my point.
Fair point.
But to be specific, when I read those documents, it alludes to somebody leaked some information to mislead the press into thinking that they were changing vote totals and not just doing some social media policy, some social media bots or something. Okay, if that's the case, who did it? I would like for this administration to dig deeper and investigate that and find out who was the leak, because that sounds like an illegal activity to me.
Doesn't it? Sure does to me. What's this? Libertarian Party in New York. The Epstein list needs to be released. But Peter, it would literally destabilize the world. 2/3 of Congress and a large portion of the world's most powerful people would be imprisoned. Society would at least partially collapse. I already said I'm for it. You don't have to sell it to me. There you go. Stand with Massey. Do you think Ben Franklin would stand with Thomas Massey? I think so. Jason Chaffetz going off on former President Obama.
I cannot even express how stunning this is. The President of the United States was engaged in a conspiracy. That's the allegation. I'm so disappointed in Barack Obama. He puts himself up there as a scandal-free president.
Oh, yeah.
How great it was for 8
Thank you for reminding me of the scandal-free moniker that never made any sense. I mean, these people are the worst.
years. That guy run the screen, he was lying to us. And he was part of concocting a conspiracy to deceive the American people. It doesn't get any worse than that. And how many times did I get a lecture from the Democrats about nobody's above the law, nobody's above the law?
Yep,
They all
over and
said
over.
it. They drove it home every time. And we'll see where they are now. They're going to run for the hills. And Jonathan Turley is right. He is absolutely right. Where is the intellectual curiosity? Where are they going to be in terms of returning their Pulitzer Prizes and all the awards that they won and patting themselves on the back on how great they were on on getting Donald Trump? They were all lying to us, and they got snookered, and they should be held accountable. And I want to see some people in handcuffs. They have to be held accountable, or it'll happen again.
I mean, that seems to be the general consensus, that they have to be held accountable or it's going to happen again. Megyn Kelly says, if you want the Tulsi Friday night Obama treason controversy explained in plain English, here you go. This is Matt Taibbi with Megyn Kelly. It's a 16-minute clip. You can watch it. It's on our X feed. Hey, Bad Hombre says, remember Hillary Clinton was suffering from intensified psycho-emotional problems. including uncontrolled fits of anger, aggression, and cheerfulness. Clinton was placed on a daily regimen of heavy tranquilizers. Do you remember how strange this moment was? Once again, we're looking backward to kind of put the puzzle pieces together and build the framework of the puzzle. All the pieces fit. It's all obvious what's happening here. We can see it on the picture of the box. The puzzle's coming together. The border has been built. But we're adding these previous puzzle pieces because they're all a part of the picture. Every piece fits the way it's supposed to. But this really is looking backwards so that we can move forward. Look at this weirdness.
Senator Warren. Did you talk about vice presidential possibilities with Senator Warren?
You guys have got to try the cold chai.
I've had it.
It is delicious, isn't it?
Okay.
What in the world? That's like if a robot Hillary bot malfunctioned, answered a question nobody was talking about. I don't remember what the question was, but look at the recoil from the curly-haired girl. She's leaning forward, and she goes, huh? What? Look at her bounce. Look at the eyebrows on curly hair. Look at her. She goes from, all right, tell me what's the what?
Senator Warren. Did you talk about vice presidential possibilities with Senator Warren?
You guys have got to try the cold chai.
I've had it.
It is delicious, isn't it?
Okay.
And then ignore the question. What in the world was that? Oh, here's the exact moment John Brennan committed perjury. Trey Gowdy again.
Did the CIA rely on it?
No.
Why not?
Because we didn't. It wasn't part of the corpus of intelligence.
Oh, the CIA didn't rely on the Steele dossier because it wasn't a part of the corpus of intelligence. Is that what he's saying?
It wasn't part of the corpus of intelligence information that we had. It was not in any way used as a basis for the intelligence community assessment that was done. It was not.
That's nice. Just let it float there. Here's your reminder. If you're in an interaction with the police, 7 words: I don't answer questions without my attorney. I don't answer questions without my attorney. Yes, when you're subpoenaed, you're supposed to talk. I know pleading the fifth and this and that, but I do follow this YouTube lawyer that just keeps hammering this home. Everything that you're doing, saying, looking like, every component of every second you spend with a police officer can and will be used against you. Don't offer anything. You're under no obligation to assist the state in building a charge against you. It's good advice. And when Brennan right there was saying what he was saying, you go, oh, well, if there's any justice in this world, this will come back to bite him in the ass now, won't it? If there's any justice in this world. By the way, you're mentioning cross-eyed Cash. Remember when Cash said, look, we're not going to release the Epstein tapes because we're not going to re-victimize those women. Also, there are no tapes. Yeah, good question. Was she mocking the reporter, referencing cold chai, caffeine? I don't know. It's possible. Yeah, I forget what the full context was. I don't recall what the question was. All right. That's essentially what I wanted to show you there. I do want to watch the South Park. I do. I'm not going to do it here. But I'm going to do it backwards. Since I led with X, I will do lightning, fire, rapid round, robin through our Instagram feed. Make sure you're following the New American Media on Instagram. Still have to figure out how to broadcast live on Instagram. It's like I have to change my account to a professional account, but I think I tried it before, but I couldn't. I don't know what. I would use it for that if I could, but I don't know how to set that up, actually. All right. So we've covered a lot of these stories, so I'm just going to bounce through them. Oh, I will show you this, where CNN cuts off Tulsi so that they could censor the truth about the Russia collusion hoax. Watch this. You don't... The director of national intelligence is exposing the fact that the former President Barack Hussein Obama has been engaged in a 9-year RICO cover-up, a conspiracy, a coup to overthrow the sitting president of the United States. And you cut away from this? No, you don't. You don't cut away from this. Except CNN is a co-conspirator, knowingly and intentionally engaged in deceit. What did I click? I don't know what's going on. I clicked on something that changed my feed. Oh, it's not showing anymore. Where did the... Okay.
On December 5th.
We've been listening there to the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard.
Got screwed up. I don't know why it did that. Let's
Gabbard continuing on what has now been a multi-day effort, not only with public statements like this, but release of documents to attempt to back up the quite extreme allegation that President Obama is guilty of treason and that he worked in some sort of conspiracy with Hillary Clinton, etc. in the assessment.
Dismissing all of it without listening to her.
By the intelligence community at the time that Russia interfered in the 2016 election.
Multiple intelligence community assessments released in the months leading up to the November 2016 election concluded that Russia had neither the intent nor capability to impact the outcome of the U.S. election. On December 5th.
We've been listening there to the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, continuing on what has now been a multi-day effort, not only with public statements like this, but release of documents to attempt to back up the quite extreme allegation that President Obama...
Extreme allegation. You got to add these little flavor words.
...is guilty of treason and that he worked in some sort of conspiracy with Hillary Clinton, etc. in the assessment by the intelligence community at the time that Russia interfered in...
Anyway, just that's interesting how you don't cut this off. This is a huge piece of information. Steve Bannon.
Obama would not be out trying to defend himself. He didn't realize he got a big problem. When a president of the United States in the Oval Office, next to a head of state who's here on a very important visit, the Philippines are one of the linchpins to our strategy against the Chinese Communist Party, and on global television, because they're all following those pressers, says that he's guilty of treason. That's a big event. It was big enough, the mainstream media, oh, this is just Trump's crazy talk. They started serious enough that Obama's spokesman immediately came out and tried to give this fluffy misdirection thing, which was nothing but a, wait for it, bald-faced lie. So we're now into this thing. And I think you're going to see what John Solomon said about a federal task force. I think you're going to see either a special prosecutor or one of these U.S. attorneys solely assigned to get to the bottom of all this, including the Epstein situation. Obama would not be out.
Okay. Bannon thinks there'll be a special prosecutor for Epstein. That's a piece of information, too. Brian Glenn, I don't remember what this clip is about. I'm going to scoot past it. Clint Russell. Do you know who Clint Russell is? Clint Russell, who put this post out. He was a guest of mine about a year ago. He was on stage at the Libertarian Presidential Convention. He debated Vivek Ramaswamy, and I think kind of debated Trump in absentia, or however they did it. They kind of, yeah. Clint Russell's he's an interesting character, a good thinker. But if you haven't watched that interview, check out the Clint Russell interview with myself from a year and a half ago. But he says, you don't announce that a former president committed treason via memes. You announce it with indictments and handcuffs. Until that happens, everyone should view this as theater, extremely insulting theater, a thinly veiled attempt to move on from the Epstein cover-up. Yeah, I mean, it definitely sort of kind of feels that way. Or you lay the case out so that everybody, it takes some of that energy out of the room. You see what we're all talking about, and you're priming the public so that they can handle it. You're letting them know what the case is, and it's like it's not even debatable. It's just a matter of how long and how severe is the punishment going to be. So either you just drop all the indictments at once, all the sealed indictments, and you arrest everyone. I keep waiting for the day, the day that Matt Damon doesn't come out that door to find Ben Affleck for work. Keep wanting to say Saving Private Ryan. What's the name of the movie? Now I'm thinking Shawshank Redemption. My brain's all over the place. Robin Williams. Good Will Hunting. There we are. My favorite part of the day is the 30 seconds between when I honk the horn and when you come out to this door. My favorite 30 seconds are when I wake up and before I've touched my phone. Maybe it's the day that instead of getting 100 notifications from everybody, all my friends, that unfortunately Hulk Hogan has passed, I tune into the news. I look into the comments, and it tells me that was a massive global raid yesterday. Thousands arrested, all in connection with the grand conspiracy. Oh, here's Nimbus. Here, Nimbus. Yep, lift your arm. There you go. We'll keep you in frame. Hi, buddy. I got a sphinx on my arm. There's a snake in my boots. There's a sphinx in my arm. Hey, buddy. Aww. Come on. Has there ever been a cuter picture of Nimbus? I don't think so. This one might take the cake. He's doing his sphinx pose. Aw, buddy. He's a good friend. He's been a good buddy. Nice reminder that if you've been considering adopting I've never played that for you, have I? I have a clip with John B. Wells where he recorded a liner for me. Here, I'll set you down, bud, so I can keep typing. Let me move my hand. Okay, there we go. He recorded a liner for me about adopting a shelter pet. I watched it the other day, and I was listening to the end. I'm like, oh, yeah, we did a whole liner. Oh, you know what? Hold on. Let me see. I did sort of lose all my music. I don't think no, I don't think it's in here. I got to find the file and re-upload it. Put that on my list of things to do. Anyway, adopt a shelter pet, please. How you like them apples? I hope Bannon is right. We shall see. But yeah, check out my interview with Clint Russell as well. Yep, Obama conspired to subvert and sabotage Trump through great and nefarious lengths. Oh, I didn't see this one. Sorry, it's sports related, but Ravens coach is clapping back at an anti-Trump reporter. I don't know when this is from. It appears to be posted recently. Ravens head coach Jim Harbaugh took offense at a reporter's framing of a question about him meeting with President Trump. I hate the Ravens. They stole my Cleveland Browns and took them to Baltimore, where they won several championships. I don't like the Harbaugh family, Jim Harbaugh with his cheating Michigan Wolverines. Sorry, that team up north. We don't say their name as a Buckeye fan. But in this moment, I'm a fan of Harbaugh. So help me. Here he goes. I think he's saying Trump has said denigrating things about Baltimore and people who want to live there. As one of the most prominent representatives of Baltimore, how do you frame that? And he just starts laughing.
Well, how you frame that question? I would frame the question like, you got a chance to go visit with the president, man. What was that experience like? It was amazing. It was awesome. And I promise you, I root for our president. You know, I want our president to be successful, just like I want my quarterback to be successful, and I want my team to be successful. And it was an amazing experience. You know, it's not often you get invited and you get a chance to do something like that as a family. You know, we were there. My daughter was there. Jim's daughters were there. My mom and dad were there. My mom and President Trump. You know, just seeing how he treated her was really meaningful.
There you go. I like that response from Harbaugh. Yeah, newly obtained Massachusetts State Police report released through FOIA request reveals Barack Obama was at his property when his personal chef drowned. And our reply was just, yes, we know. I mean, maybe it wasn't reported. Maybe that wasn't common knowledge, but we knew that. We knew that was likely, possible, probable. Of course, we knew that. Declassified 2020 report debunking the intelligence started Russiagate hoax released by DNI. Schellenberger says that the media is saying it's a nothing burger. In fact, it's a devastating indictment of Obama's CIA, and the public has learned that its lead author is still at the CIA. It's unbelievable. So, insider paper reports, House panel directs the chairman to subpoena Bill and Hillary Clinton regarding the Epstein probe per Fox. Well, did Trump trick the media into bringing the Epstein list forward? Boy, oh boy, would that be interesting. I'm not saying I believe that. I'm saying it's possible. House Oversight Government Reform Committee approved several subpoenas, including one directing the DOJ to turn over materials related to the Epstein files. It's all happening. Buckle up. Jim Comey's terrified.
So who wants to watch a very strangely recorded video of what is very clearly a terrified Jim Comey seeming to send signals to sleeper cells buried deep within the deep state?
Trump and the hacks who lead the Department of Justice are hammering at the dam day after day, trying to turn it into just another gold leaf covered Trump subsidiary. Our best hope is that good people will stay and do what Maureen asked. Have the courage to do the right thing always. You may get fired for acting that way, but there's honor in that, and nothing but disgrace for those who don't stand up.
Now, I've watched enough hostage videos to know when somebody is reading a script, almost as though they're compelled or being compelled to read it. So why was Jim Comey reading a script like that? Well, it probably has something to do with the fact that Senator Grassley was finally able to get declassified the Inspector General report from the 2018 investigation into the FBI's handling of Hillary Clinton's classified email scandal. And now the entire American public understands that the Jim Comey FBI absolutely failed to fully investigate that email scandal before walking out on July 5th, 2016, and fully exonerating her of any wrongdoing after reading through a list of crimes that she actually committed. But there's more that was buried deep in here. You see, also included in that document dump from Senator Grassley was a series of memos that look like this. And it talks specifically about how the Obama White House did not want to be marred down in an administration-ending scandal that included Hillary Clinton and the State Department in the email scandal. So instead, the White House decided to put pressure on the FBI through Loretta Lynch to basically make it go away. In fact, it says very clearly, to deal with this, he is using Attorney General Lynch to mount a pressure on FBI Director Jim Comey. And what's interesting is that it talks in here about how it wasn't working. It seemed as though Jim Comey and the FBI was going to slow walk the investigation all the way up through the rest of the 2016 campaign, but then something changed. Do you want to take a wild guess at what it was that changed?
What changed?
Because if you remember correctly, this was the point at which the FBI decided to effectively bury the Hillary Clinton email scandal and pivot and start focusing on Donald Trump. Because right after he went out in front of the American people and exonerated her, within a few weeks they had opened up Crossfire Hurricane. They had learned that the Hillary Clinton campaign was starting to manufacture all of the information that was in the Steele dossier, and that was when they cooked up the entire scheme to start framing Donald Trump and spying on his administration. So apparently the pressure campaign worked, and Jim Comey decided to join the treasonous conspiracy, and now everyone knows it. So who wants to watch a...
This is the most hopeful I've been in a while. Yes, Candace Owens, we covered that. Oh, yeah, here's Chucky Schumer. You want to know why so many judges are getting in the way of the Trump agenda? You got to try to stop Trump from fixing America every way possible, of course.
Those who believe that we are in real time living through an assault on the constitutional order. Do you believe that we are in a constitutional...
Oh, yeah, that was Obama, Biden, Clinton who were doing that, along with the deep state.
Constitutional crisis right now?
Yes, our democracy is at risk.
Our bureaucracy is at risk.
Because Donald Trump shows that he wishes to violate the laws in many, many different ways. The good news here is we did put 235 judges, progressive judges, judges not under the control of Trump last year on the bench, and they are ruling against Trump time after time after time. And we hope that the appellate courts, when it gets up there in the Supreme Court, will uphold those rulings. They restored the money to NIH. They required that 8,000 federal employees have to come back. We're in over 100 lawsuits against them, and we are having a good deal of success.
There are those who believe...
He also said 6 ways from Sunday, Schumer, of course. Rogan tells Theo Von how Trump went without sleep for 72 hours and still delivered his election night speech.
You want to hear something crazy? Trump, at the day of the election, Dana White told me he'd been up for 72 hours.
Unbelievable.
I go, how's that possible? He goes, dude, he's a freak. It's so weird.
Well, yeah, dude, I'll say some things. Here's things that, like, whatever you think about, the things that the guy is as resilient. No one could go through all that shit. When the Justice Department started to fuck him over, that's when a lot of people were like, you know what? The only thing we should be able to believe in this country is at least the justice system. And if they're fucking him over,
right.
And then he got shot at a couple of times, dude. He's a quarter of 50 Cent.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He's like, so it's like, what else does it, you know, at a certain point, you just like, I got to bet on this dog.
Yeah.
You know, even if it's like, you don't even like him. It's like, this motherfucker, this dude, you got to bet on that dog. If not, it's just bizarre, you know?
Right. I mean, the guy gets up and says, fight, 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 after he got shot in the ear. He's not freaking out. He's like, oh my God, I got shot. Get me out of here. They're shooting. He goes, no, stop. Fight.
Yeah. Fight. Dude, I stubbed my toe. I called my assistant a faggot. You know, it's like, so yeah, there's something special about that guy.
You want to hear something crazy?
Can't even deal with a stubbed toe. Let me show you one more thing on X that hi, buddy. I know you hungry for early dinner? Hi. Well, thanks for the, thanks, bud. All right. I want to show you this. Charlie Kirk put this out about, there we are. Hulk Hogan. For those of you interested. Charlie says, Hulk Hogan left us with many memories. But his greatest legacy is that 18 months ago, he and his wife were baptized and gave their lives to Jesus Christ. Total surrender and dedication to Jesus is the greatest day of my life. No worries, no hate, no judgment. That is Hulk Hogan right there. For those of you curious. Oh, also, you know, I did leave something unshared yesterday about Ozzy Osbourne. Back in 2022, Ozzy gave Youngblood his cross, spreading his faith. In his last show ever, Youngblood gave Ozzy back a custom cross. Metalheads are not bad people, probably the sweetest and most humble people you will meet.
Just keep going. Yeah, man. Don't give in. No, man, never. It's gonna be fucking epic, man. Love you, Oz. Love you, man. I fucking love you, man. Honestly. Fucking awesome. Bro, To Oz, I hope this brings you luck. Love always, Dom. Thanks, Dom. Of course, man. So fucking cool. Yeah, it's a fucking vibe, man. That's very special now, that. Yeah.
It's all sterling silver on top of the box.
Sterling silver and the cross is gold, so. And we've got to throw a couple of diamonds in there, so.
That's great. Thank you so much.
Love you, man. Love you.
Love you too.
And we'll fucking ride tomorrow. It's gonna be
I'm back to fucking brother.
Yeah, that's it. That's the way. There we go.
That's
Legendary,
so cool.
man. Yeah, it's fucking great. Adds to the bling, doesn't it? You know what I mean?
God bless you, man.
And we've got matching. There we go. Rock and roll. Rock and roll.
Just keep.
So there's questions about it and where he was at. What is this quote? I'm a Christian. I was christened as a Christian. I used to go to Sunday school. I'm not a devil worshiper. I've never been involved in black magic. But Ozzy was a Christian. The Satanism was all for show, but no real Christian pushes satanic propaganda for money nonetheless. I thought there was a video where he talked about it. Oh, maybe it was this part? No, I can't play that. Rolling Stone quoted Ozzy on whether Black Sabbath was ever into black magic. Quote, we couldn't conjure up a fart. We were the last hippie band. We were into peace. I think that might be part of the video that I was trying to get to yesterday. Didn't have the chance to get to. But, you know, as people leave us, it's important to kind of Anglican christened into the COFE. All right. Well, anyway, it's just something that we were thinking about, talking about yesterday. And there was Hulk Hogan getting baptized, in case you didn't know. Yep. Trump haters say Trump's on the Epstein list. Trump supporters, okay, release it. Obama judge, nope. This was, yes, yes. This is exactly what I wanted you all to see. Former DNI James Clapper says he's afraid that, well, here, let's just let him talk. Shared by Nick Sorter from a CNN interview. Former Director of National Intelligence James Clapper after all of his treason.
The director says that she's referred these filings to the Justice Department for a criminal investigation. Tonight, we're told they formed what is called a strike force. Do you have concerns that they will attempt to prosecute you?
Well, certainly I do. After 8.5 years of this, and I don't know of an intelligence product that was more scrutinized, more investigated than that product was by numerous people. It's very disconcerting. It really is, and I take
He's gonna look great in a jumpsuit.
seriously when the President of the United States accuses me of being a participant in a treasonous conspiracy, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, what's your reaction to that?
Ridiculous? Bro.
It's ridiculous. It is untrue.
So what will you do if they come after you? What is your plan?
Well, I'll lawyer up, I suppose. Already have.
Yeah.
You've already hired attorneys in anticipation that this Trump Justice Department could try to prosecute you.
We've had sort of perpetual attorneys since I left the government in 2017.
When the director says that she's referred these filings to the Justice Department for a criminal.
There you go. What's ridiculous is the deep state thinking they get away with this treason. Buckle up, TikTok. He's already lawyered up. The Democrat, Joey Manarino, says the Democrats are trying to use the Jeffrey Epstein story to distract from the fact that Barack Obama blatantly committed treason and was caught. They should be patently shamed to throw the victims of pedophilia out there like this simply for a political agenda. They don't care about these victims. They had 4 years to care about them. Now it's just fake for political clout, and these people should be ashamed. This is a Maine representative.
Policies, how
Dega Dahalak says her goal is to help our country of Somalia. Homeland Security. Is this an official Homeland Security account? They said pause. South Portland, Maine selects the country's first Somali mayor.
How can the politics in Somalia can be, resonate what we have here in the United States, the democracy that we have? How can you help us, be a better country and build back what we used to have back in long time ago? So hopefully we will be able to help our country, our former country, Somalia. Policies, how can the politics in Somalia can be, resonate what we have here in the United States, the democracy that we have? How can you help us?
I mean, it's not a democracy; it's a constitutional republic.
Be a better country and build back what we used to have back in long time ago. So hopefully we will be able to help our country, our former country, Somalia. Policies.
For my country of Somalia or former country of Somalia? I don't know. I'll give a little grace here, but the question in the comments: do you agree or disagree? All government officials, and I don't know if she was. I mean, I guess if she's from Somalia, she's not from here. If it's being summed up the correct way, but agree or disagree? Type it in the comments, please. In order to serve in an elected position in the United States, you must be born in the United States. Is that something you would agree or something you would disagree with? Tell me in the comments. Yes, Deb, at least Hulk Hogan got his insurance, his hell insurance on time. Exactly. All right. But yeah, I mean, it's been Obama colonizing sovereign nations. We know that. Why would Americans elect a representative who wouldn't put America first? We have questions, essentially. Oh, here you go. Here's another good one. Former CIA director John Brennan again. Oh, he might be the mastermind of them all. What's he got to say about Tulsi Gabbard?
Gabbard, she may be impaired on the ethics front, certainly, but she's not impaired on the intellect front. And so I can only presume that she is doing this intentionally mischaracterizing, misrepresenting, and lying about what she has found. Tulsi.
No, we all know crystal clear what y'all have been up to. TikTok. Molly Hemingway with her take.
Larry, not just the president, but a lot of Americans are livid about this as well.
Yes.
And I think it's worth remembering that none of this would be possible without a complicit media that willingly participates.
Thank you. I think some of the comments were talking about the media. You have to go after them. None of this would have worked without a complicit media because they were co-conspirators. They were not deceived. They were fucking liars about Joe Biden's cognitive skill, about the Russian collusion hoax, about like they've lied about all of the things knowingly and intentionally. Co-conspirators. Deb agrees. Lake Leon agrees. You should be American born only to serve. Yeah, good point. Brennan is making the rounds because he's terrified, and he should be. That motherfucker thought he was going to get away with stealing America, replacing the citizens with tens of millions of foreign invaders, stripping us of our liberties, hollowing us out for an overthrow. No thanks. Americans have a little bit more grit than they assumed we had.
Participate in these info ops perpetrated by bad actors in the intelligence community. Some of the same people who uncritically regurgitated the Russia collusion hoax also uncritically regurgitated the lie that Hunter Biden's evidence of family business corruption was a Russian plant, and they do it with other situations as well. They have destroyed Americans' trust, whatever trust they should have had, in the intelligence community because of how they politicized things and because of how the media have gone along with this. And instead of getting awards, they should be ignored, or in fact, I think maybe some of their role in the Russia collusion hoax might need to be investigated as well.
Seditious, Molly. It's a terrific word.
Larry, not just the president.
Seditious indeed. I interviewed Stuart Rhodes multiple times. Do you know who Stuart Rhodes is? I interviewed him most recently when I interviewed I'm sorry, why am I in Washington, D.C., outside of the jail. I talked with Stuart Rhodes. You could check that interview out, by the way. Around the same time I talked to Ashley Babbitt's mother. Talked with Stuart Rhodes, convicted of seditious conspiracy or something like that. By the way, I do have a sign of life from Kenneth. I want to report back. Signs of life from Kenneth. He says, yeah, out of town. He's in Minnesota, and he'll be back next week. So I told him, good. Just haven't heard from you and making sure you're all right. It's been a while. It's been a while. All right, Molly Hemingway with another good report. She's a good follow. Oh, Jasmine Crockett. Guess what? She said the quiet part out loud.
We also know that there are donors that I'm sure are going to be willing to make sure that they are investing and making sure that they can take down some of these candidates. Since they don't want to rule out dark money, I'm sure some dark money gonna pour in on the behalf of the American people. So what I am saying is every tactic, as well as making sure we're touching people. We also know that there are donors that I'm sure are going to be willing to make sure that they are investing and making sure that they can take down some of these candidates. Since they don't want to rule out dark money, I'm sure some dark money gonna pour in on the behalf of the American people. So
she is just the worst. Dark money, huh? Time to investigate. Act Blue and Jasmine Crockett. She just admitted to a crime. Here we go. Breitbart reporting House panel votes to subpoena Bill and Hillary Clinton over the alleged Jeffrey Epstein links. Ta-da! Here we go. Is it part of a plan? Is this playing out the way that they wanted it to? Because it hasn't made sense to me. The Epstein story, as it's been rolled out, hasn't made sense. Trump has looked guilty. He has looked not so great. Or there's other stuff going on and his hands are tied and there's other governments involved and he's trying to cut deals and it would mess up stuff that they're working on. And it's not that it's an endorsement of abusing kids. And it's not that Trump did anything bad. It's just, it's a mess. And it goes back to Iran-Contra. And there's sort of only so much that he can do. Plus, what do you think that the deep state gave him back on the Epstein files? What do you think was left for him when they said, deliver me the files? They go, what files? When Mr. Burns goes to meet with the president of Cuba, he shows him $1 million bill. Can I see that? Looking is for touching. Looking is look with your eyes, not with your hands. He goes, oh, come on. He goes, oh, okay. If I can't trust a communist dictator, then who could I trust? He goes, okay, I'll take it back now. And he goes, take what back? Oh. He just put it in his pocket and stole it. Like, what are you going to do? So it's going to be interesting. I don't know how this shakes out. But it's been an emotional roller coaster with the Epstein thing because let me think how to phrase this. Okay. Let me, am I hedging? I'm not really hedging this. I'm just defining the parameters of what I'm about to say. This isn't about me. There's nothing in my past where I recollect any sort of abuse in my life. Thank God. All right. That being said, there is somebody. I don't know how I want to tell this story. All right, let me. It's very important that we get to see some justice on the people that abuse kids. The ramifications, the repercussions, the butterfly effect. It's real and it's serious and it's bad. And yeah, I just had I recently had a conversation. No, I want justice for the kids. You know, the Epstein story is either, hey, we're throwing all these parties and we're always going to have attractive models. Is she even 18? She's like, you know, she's a model and they're having a fun time, having a good time. You go, I don't know. Willing participants, party girls, working girls, 18-year-old adults, or, you know, we're talking like 5-year-olds and stuff like that. Like what are we talking? That story from Arkansas that I shared with you. Sorry to share that yesterday. That was goddamn. But yeah, it's important that the monsters are exterminated, and I use that term very specifically. Extermination. I'm not done on the Epstein story, and I sure hope Trump isn't a part of it. To say he's in the files, like, oh, there's pictures, outer circle of the dartboard. Once again, there's pictures and videos of him communicating with him, and we know that he cooperated to take him down in 2000. What did we say? Was that 2006, 2008? I hope Trump isn't a part of it. But like, yeah, pictures and whatever, like that doesn't prove that he did anything that's ghastly. But it is still a very important issue for me. And I'm not done on this story. Man, I would be able to feel so much better if we could just get to the end already. Just tell us how this thing ends. Tell me there's going to be some justice for victims. Tell me that's going to be possible. President Obama and CIA Director John Brennan pushed to publish the Trump-Putin intelligence in December 16, even though the CIA veterans objected, said the sources were unreliable and didn't meet publication standards. We know. Yeah, they caught Obama cold. Here's Obama, the fraud. To those suggesting Obama and Hillary shouldn't be arrested or prosecuted because America would burn? Huh? Mike Engelman, with a good last name, spelled incorrectly though, says America burned for 4 years under an installed invalid from a stolen election, from an installed invalid from a stolen election, as Trump was arrested, then shot in the face on national television. The boundaries no longer exist. Arrest and prosecute. Hey, check this out. Did you see Generation Z political affiliation? Men. 52% Republican. That's up 18%. Democrats are a shocking 34%. That should be single digits. Dissident West says, I don't think anyone's ready for what happens once boomers are no longer in power. There's a chart showing that 20-year-old white men are now more right-wing than 75-year-old white men. Watch out. That's called blowback. Trump signs an AI action plan, according to Ms. Muckraker, in executive orders to cut regulations and drive domination of American AI systems worldwide. Deregulation, national security, infrastructure investment, AI education, and bias-free AI. Not entirely certain what to make of AI and our rules on it, but we'll see. Christopher Rufo says, incredible. Hang on, does this actually say this in Pope founding? Oh, One example, one major AI model changed the race or sex of historical figures, including the Pope, the Founding Fathers, and Vikings, when prompted for images because it was trained to prioritize DEI requirements at the cost of accuracy. Another AI model refused to produce images celebrating the achievements of white people, even when comparing the same request for people of other, even while complying with the same request for people of other races. And yet another case, AI model asserted that a user should not misgender another person, even if necessary to stop a nuclear apocalypse. So the DEI component inside of AI is something you have to address. Christopher Rufo says it's incredible. Trump has issued an executive order saying that the government will not purchase AI systems that default to Black George Washington, refuse to celebrate the achievements of white people, or argue that misgendering someone is worse than a nuclear apocalypse. Okay, those feel like pretty solid boundaries there. Marjorie Taylor Greene says, I oppose every effort to replace American workers with foreign workers. H-1B visas are a problem, and they are. 82% of all new tech jobs in the last year went to H-1B visa holders. 52% of recent graduated last year are unemployed. So that's a problem in this country. RFK Jr. smacks down the WHO's international health regulations, saying the agreement has provisions about vaccine passports and centralized medical databases, laying the groundwork for global medical surveillance of every human being. Not okay. Nearly half of first-time expectant parents are undecided on childhood vaccines, a huge shift from the near universal trust in childhood vaccines seen just a decade ago. Brett Botcher here saying 100 million nerve cells connecting your gut and your brain. They still want you to believe the processed junk food has nothing to do with your anxiety, your depression, or your mental health. Make it make sense. Officers of ICE are heroes, says Ahmed Y. They just arrested 243 illegals in a massive Denver raid. They caught gang members, murderers, human traffickers, offenders, pedos, fentanyl dealers, burglars, and many DUIs. Good riddance. Mayor Karen Bass says Los Angeles is on pace for the lowest homicide rate total in 60 years. Bad Hombre says wild how that's happening at the same time that Trump is deporting all of your murderers.
Just own up to it. Why doesn't he just do that?
Own up to what? What the Wall Street Journal calls unverified hearsay? Why should he go out there and have to own up to anything? He's not ever been credibly accused.
That's true.
Washington Post ran a fact check on this the other day and said, we're confident there's nothing about the president. If there were, we would know about it. Unverified hearsay is what he's dealing with, and you want him to go out and fight this ghost?
And you know what? That's what the Republicans have done for decades. Democrats lie, Republicans play defense.
Democrats are alleging that he is somehow part of Epstein's wrongdoing. It's been happening all day long. This is the whole point of this fiasco, is to try to create a narrative and what he calls correctly a hoax that he is somehow part of it. It's exactly what they did about Russia.
Just own up to it. Why doesn't he just do that?
Own up.
Yeah, there's nothing to own up to at this point. And finally, final news story here. President Trump is visiting the Federal Reserve Thursday, that's today, to check on Jerome Powell's $2.5 billion air quote renovations to the building. Powell attempted to block the White House staff from visiting, so Trump decided he was personally going. Powell is in some deep shit, perhaps. Thank you, Deb. Appreciate you. Yes, I did check out that show, Deb. I clicked on one of those links. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of speculation. In the absence of information, speculation will run rampant. We do know that. Absolutely. All right. Yeah, and get Ghislaine Maxwell in that deposition too. We'll see. I mean, talk about a wild card. Who knows? I mean, could you even trust what she said? I don't know. God knows. I wish we could know what there is to know. I hate not knowing. I hate not having all the info, and we're doing our best to figure it out. But we appreciate you joining us while we figure this out together here on the TNAM Daily Show, a division of the Agree to Disagree show here on the New American Media. If you're not following us in all the places, that's scrolling at the bottom of the screen right now. The New American Media does exist on, oh, there we go, there's our logo. The New American Media can be found on the following places: Instagram, Facebook, Truth Social, Rumble, Odysee, Twitch, Kick, DLive, and YouTube at the New American Media. Hit like, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. We're on Telegram and Signal at TNAM and TNAM Chat, on X at American_Media_, and our podcast. If you're not subscribed to our podcast, please click it and join. We are at, the Agree to Disagree show on Spotify and Apple. We do have a Patreon link. Thank you to everybody who has subscribed and people that will in the future. Patreon at the New American Media. We have our tip jar at PayPal. The email address is fuzzinstallment@yahoo.com. And Venmo and Cash App at BrianEngelman for anyone who would like to toss something in the tip jar. I stand out here as a busker, playing songs and singing you songs so that you may throw coins in my open guitar case. And I appreciate every one of you who has and every one of you who will. And please tell your friends. And finally, like I said, that last challenge, we got to eat up 800 viewable hours of TNAM footage on the YouTube channel to get our monetization back. Now, by the way, I think it says you can apply. Let's see if they'll even let me once I hit their magic number again. But you know what? It is what it is. And it is the largest video sharing platform at the moment. And I would rather be monetized there than not. It would be great cranking out these tens of thousands of hours over the last decade and a half and actually earn enough revenue to get by month to month doing it. I have a dream. I got a dream, folks. And that's why, something I'd rarely done in this time was do daily shows. And I've been all in for a while on this. I was mostly in, and I was sort of in, and I was doing a lot of stuff, but this has been a labor of love to get this information out there. There's so much to sift through, and I appreciate each and every one of you for participating in the process. So yes, it is cartwheel time. It's Cartman time as well. New episode of South Park. I will check that out. But for now, I am going to be signing out on behalf of everybody out there in the TNAM universe. I appreciate you. I love you. And we will talk to you again soon. Take care, everybody. Peace.
Your guide to the truth. TheNewAmericanMedia.com.